to construct a single-family dwelling within 100 feet of a wetland resource area, Lot 2, Old North Street, map 5, Lot 58, Walpole, Mass. Notice of intent, application, and plans are filed at the Conservation Commission office. Public hearing on the above matter will be held in person June 14th, 2023, beginning at 7 p.m. All interested person requested to be present. We have a letter from town engineer. Reviewed the submitted plan only and have no engineering comments related to the notice of intent filing. However, we note proposed address for the lot will be 1330 North Street.
Between North Street
Okay.
and that, well, uniform. That's right over here, and then there's that.
This is from the Board of Health, and it's May 23rd meeting, voted unanimously that the board is not in favor of construction
This here.
within the 100-foot buffer zone. The board also has a long-standing stance on protecting wetlands and water sources, as well as protecting the residents from human vector-borne illnesses. This project is approved. Board urges the applicant, as well as the future homeowners, to adopt standard best practices for mosquito mitigation and to work with Norfolk County Mosquito Control for spraying and standing water treatments, as well as providing proper grading for buffer zone areas in order to prevent low points that draw and hold water. I guess that's it. Okay, representing the applicant.
Good evening, Rob Truax, GLM Engineering Consultants. So this is a single-family lot. It's up in North Walpole off Old North Street. It's called Lot 2. And it's located on the corner of, this is a new road. It's a little cul-de-sac, Drumhead Way, which was a 4-lot. There was the existing house, this lot, and 2 lots in the back. It was a small subdivision we did some years ago. The road's been built, the pavement's in, the drainage is in, the drainage goes out the back. The lot's 46,000 square feet. We're proposing a single-family house. If you went out there, it's relatively flat. There's not a lot of slope from here to there. It's a relatively flat, open lot, kind of an old field area. And we're proposing a house with an on-site septic. Septic's located up in the back, as far away from the wetlands as you could be, probably a couple hundred feet anyway. Pump system, driveway comes in off Old North, it's not coming in off the new road. The address will be North Street, as the town engineer states. If you're familiar with Old North, it's that little cut-around road that goes around. So there is a wetland area across the street on the opposite side of Old North. It's flagged, it's just right off the edge, it kind of drops down off the street, and there's a wetland down on the other side. So we have the road, and then we have the lot. There's a stone wall along the front. So we'll put the erosion control barrier right along the street line. I did revise the plan. I just brought in revisions tonight, and I was from speaking with Landis. We didn't put roof runoff infiltration on the septic plan. I think it was just because the plan was drawn so many years ago, I just updated it with a new house. So we did add recharge for the 1 inch of runoff over the roof surface, which is on that revised plan. Details are on I had to add a second sheet for the details. We put in a construction entrance pad, the trap rock. We also show a washout area for the concrete trucks, and there is a silt barrier detail. Those are all on the second sheet. That's pretty much it. There's not really much going on. It's pretty straightforward. Like I said, just a single-family house.
Okay. Landis?
So is the whole lot being cleared?
Really nothing on it.
Is the whole
Pretty-
lot being graded and seeded?
Probably from up to the tree line, because it's tall grass, he'll probably mow it down at least where he won't touch it. He might not have to disturb, he won't disturb it all.
What's the, I know the square footage of the lot is 46,000, so.
I mean, it's been graded and seeded when they built the road. That whole area this was all regraded in here and seeded.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he doesn't have to do a lot of disturbance. You looking for the square footage of disturbance?
Yeah,
No.
but I think because you're coming before with a notice of intent and only a portion of the buffer is on the site, that we that, you can include the land disturbance aspect. Change the,
Yeah.
um,
New Street.
in addition to, that's what I would recommend, is they just issue a land disturbance permit as well.
That would be fine.
If it's, over 40,000 square feet,
Yeah,
because you have the infiltrated.
I would say it's not over 40,000 square feet of disturbance, because
Then it would just be the fast track permit, which would include the infiltration
okay.
and sediment control.
Yeah, you can do the fast track. If it's definitely under 40,000 square feet of disturbance. Yeah, they're not gonna come up in here and all this area back here.
I didn't think they were gonna come in that corner.
They're not gonna come up in here and do anything.
That's the only thing I'd say, if they're planning on grading and seeding the whole,
No, this is,
it's shown on the plan.
and then like up in the back, this is already grass. We're gonna try and save these trees right up in here and over here. Gonna have to take a couple out here for the septic. There's no trees really here. There's nothing there.
And you did soil tests for the septic, I assume?
Yeah, we did it twice. We did it years ago, and then we did it again not so long ago.
Did you look at the areas where the infiltration, where you're?
I did testing here for I had a system here first, and then I moved it so they could put the house there. Originally, we were gonna put the house here, and the system here, but they thought it would be better with the house closer to the street, because it looks better, just from the view. You know, it's a big house, it's gonna have the porches, and so we retested it, and they're gonna pump it up in the back.
So the location of the roof drains will take the 1 inch.
They should. This was all, we have leaching out here for the roof runoff. It was all gravel out in the back.
It's color photos in here.
Neil? Dean?
Can you put the compost stock and your standard detail up here?
It's on the second sheet. I had to create another sheet. It got crowded.
Okay, as long as it's, you know you're gonna use a compost stock, right?
That's on there, just a sock, no silk fence.
Yeah, and no straw, well, we don't use straw, so compost, fine.
You want compost socks? Okay.
And then the stockpiling, just gonna keep it out of the buffer zone, right?
Yeah, they'll stockpile up in here.
Okay, no more questions.
Doug?
I have no questions at this time.
Emilio?
All set.
No questions.
Al?
I'm all set.
Okay, anybody in the audience have any questions or comments? Please identify yourself for the record.
Place was disturbed when they
Okay, hearing none, I'll take a motion
North
to
Street Street.
close the hearing.
I'll move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
600. Okay. The order? Special.
I would just do the same, to make, note in the cover letter that, fast track permit is also being issued and that the standard order of conditions, but I would include that the, location of application unit be directed by the, engineering.
Installation.
Yeah, but I guess
Okay, anything else? Someone want to make that a motion?
so moved.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I seconded it.
Somebody objected.
No, I seconded it.
Objected?
Okay.
We have an objection.
Objection, objected,
Thank you.
dejected. See you later. Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, same, my child.
I don't have a life expectancy, so I was way over
Is that right?
expectancy. I was.
Gotcha. Plymouth Street.
What do we got next? Total poll notice of intent, Conservation Commission, public hearing, according to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act and Walpole Wetlands Protection Bylaw. Notice hereby given the intended John Callahan of 139 Plimpton Street, map 19, lot 128, Walpole, Mass. To construct a two-car garage within the 100-foot buffer zone. Notice of intent, application, and plans are filed at the Conservation Commission office. Public hearing in the above matter will be held in person June 14th, 2023, beginning 7:05 PM. All interested persons requested present. From the town engineer, we reviewed the plan, and have reviewed the submitted plan only, and note the following. Observed the soil test and reviewed the sizing for the roof recharge system and agree with the assumptions made in the proposed plan. Sizing is quite conservative. Location of the proposed infiltration system should be moved about 7 feet plus or minus to the southeast, away from the driveway, so that it remains outside the town's main sewer interceptor easement.
That's on that lake. that
This should
flipped
not
in by
present a
the road.
problem for the design, as it should be at a higher elevation according to topography on the plan. This is from the Board of Health, and it's June 6th. Meeting voted unanimously, the Board of Health is not in favor of construction within the 100-foot buffer zone. The board also has a long-standing stance in protecting wetlands and water sources, as well as protecting residents from human vector-borne illnesses. This project is approved. The board urges the applicant to adopt the standard best practices for mosquito mitigation, to work with Norfolk County Mosquito Control for spraying and standing water treatment, as well as providing proper grading of buffer zone areas in order to prevent low points that draw and hold water. Okay. I guess that is it. I'm here representing the applicant.
Russ Waldron, Applied Ecological Sciences. So this project is remove an existing one-car garage and replace it with a two-car garage. Project is located within the riverfront area to the Neponset River. Total disturbance increase, total net increase is 852.2 square feet, or a little over 3% of the total riverfront. And the plan shows that the roof runoff on the new garage is going to be infiltrated with a Cultec-style infiltrator system. And
Your windows are closed.
not a whole lot more, pretty straightforward. It'll be a slab on grade.
Okay. Landis?
So it's slab on grade, just sitting at the existing grades?
I would assume, yeah. Yep.
No change of grades, because you have no proposed grade. You have no proposed grades on the plan.
No, I mean, the yard slopes up a little bit, about probably where the back of the new garage would sit, so, I mean, I imagine they'll have to do some work to just create the level pad, and then probably just, clean up and, blend the lawn back into, existing grades once it's all said and done.
And the stone retaining walls coming down?
That's misrepresented. That's, at that,
Can you identify yourself?
oh, I'm sorry, Joseph Callanan,
Thank you.
the owner. That is actually cobbled paver stones, jumbo cobbled paver stones that are set on vertical edge, and they only come out of the ground about 6 inches. So I'm going to just pull them out during the construction, save them, and then reconfigure. It's just to define the line between the driveway and the lawn. So it's like I said, just pavers, it's not a retaining wall.
So I did go out there and did a site walk with Russ and Mr. Callahan. So the garage is existing, pre-developed riverfront area, you're removing that, and you're proposing a larger garage, so there'll be 852 square feet of riverfront area
Mm-hmm.
disturbed, in addition,
But,
additional.
yeah. Well, it'll be new. I forget, actually, it's about, That's what the net disturbance will be, once the old garage comes out and the new one goes in.
Oh, I thought that was the increase. I thought the 852 was the increase in.
Correct.
air
Yep.
disturbance.
Yeah, that's what's left over. That's the increase that's left over between the difference
Right.
between
Okay,
existing and new.
so it's new riverfront area that's being disturbed,
Right.
but it's under the 10%. I think you still have to do you still have to do an improvement to the riverfront area, in addition to the stormwater.
Oh, okay, so we can put some mitigation plantings in.
So, well, one of the things I noticed when I was out there, so this particular property has had a couple different filings, the most recent being an RDA for the propane tank, right? Propane tank.
Yeah,
Which is not on the plan.
Oh.
Okay. And then, in 2005, there was a filing for the addition, so on the plan where it says deck and the square, that addition there. So in that order of conditions, it did specify that there should be 4, they were called conservation signs, so no alteration signs along the boundary of the 20-foot, I think it was 20-foot, I don't know, put in my 25-foot, no alteration area. So, or at the top of basically at the top of the slope is where they're shown on the plan. So those were not put in, or if they were put in, they're gone. So,
no, we can put them in or replace them if they were there, not a problem.
yeah, I didn't see them. I don't
Yeah,
think-
that was on a other project about 15 years ago, and after you,
2005, yeah.
yeah, and after you mentioned that to me, you know, we did do the silt fence and everything that was called for, and I didn't know that they had to stay permanently. I just thought they were up for construction only. Okay, so I did remove them, yes,
Yeah,
knowing.
they're permanent, they're
Okay.
there just to provide a boundary of a no alteration beyond this point reminder to people. And then it did look like there was an area along the same area that had been cut or cleared or maintained as a view.
That is direct.
So I did have a slight picture of that in my report from the conservation commissioner. My understanding is that a lot of that had been like that for years and years, but then it looked like some trees had somewhat recently gone down.
Yes, I talked to Russ about that this morning after your comments. It was within the last 2 years that there was 2 beavers set a dam up on the opposite side and then proceeded to take out probably about at least 12, 15 trees on the east side of my property. And they took them, every morning we wake up and there'd be another one down. So, and you can still see the stumps there that, with the, you know, the chopping, so to speak, of the beavers. So that's the reason those trees were no longer there. In fact, I think that picture shows one of them that's into the pond in the middle of the section there.
So I would just recommend to the commission that there be some mitigation, since there's been just a couple different incremental additions to the riverfront area over the years. And, if some shrubs or trees could be planted in the area, I'm not saying you have to block out, you don't have to line them up all the way across, but maybe some here, some there, so there is some shade given to that area again, that would be beneficial to the capacity of the riverfront area. That's it.
So you want that shown on the plan? With
Well,
the-
yeah,
with-
I think you guys should talk about what makes sense, or.
They're not
if they
referring to the
propose
silt
something.
Yeah, plus the plaques
Requires
should be
is
shown
like
on the
some sort
plan.
of a demarcation of their no disturb zone.
Dean?
Yeah,
Jim.
so I think the location of the plaques on here, and we could close out your other order of conditions, put the plaques back in, maybe file for a COC, we can close that out, then we can continue with this. It would be great to see, are you gonna add more pavement with the new garage?
No.
How are cars?
I would say just a bit between the existing garage and where it meets the front slab of the new garage, yes.
So, all right, but you probably will do grading. Can we see that on a plan, the grading, like an as-built plan, like a proposed
Yeah,
plan?
What I'm going to do is a step footing on the backside. The grade slopes gradually over the area about 2 feet. So I don't want to change any grading, okay? I'm going to take care of that problem with the step footing along the backside.
Totally cool. If we could see it on a plan, that'd be great. And the erosion control, you're gonna use a compost sock like we talked about, right? Compost tube, right? No straw. What else was I gonna say? No slab. You're not gonna be taking any soil off? You're not gonna stockpile soil? Doesn't sound like it, no?
I
down?
really, I don't anticipate stockpiling anything. I don't think there's going to be a lot. I'm just going to have it hauled out, and get rid of it.
Okay.
Just what would be needed to backfill around close to the edge of the foundation wall, that's it, but it would be minimal.
Due to the slope of this, it'd be if you're gonna stockpile soil for a long-term time, like more than 30 days, just put a tube around it, compost tube.
Yep. Doug?
I see the downspout drawing for the house. Is there a similar one for the garage?
It's calling for a roof drain on the closest to the street side.
Oh,
I think it's a standard detail. It says house, but I think this is the
Oh.
detail for the garage, right?
oh, that's the
Correct.
garage where it says house?
This is the
Correct.
detail for the garage?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's just a copy.
all right, that's it.
Media?
Questions?
Betsy?
Two questions. Well, okay, so knowing this area, Plimpton Street and Plimpton Pond and the Neponset River along here, it is strange to have absolutely no trees here, so I think a good mitigation is to put some trees in that are appropriate to that property. And so there were beavers doing something on the Neponset River? Where?
Anywhere the water's running and they can hear it.
Yeah, I know, I'm just trying to imagine, having seen a lot of beaver activity, and that's a huge task for them, and they just gave up on it? They just said, okay, enough of damming the mighty Neponset River?
Who knows?
Okay, wow.
Yeah, there's a den on the opposite side, okay, on the north
Maybe
side.
they're on a little stream or something? I'm knowing the Plimpton Pond area, that's a pretty huge dam they gotta be putting across.
No, they weren't building it towards the dam going to the lower end. They were more where the bridge comes across Plimpton Street.
Yeah.
Okay, and then they were making a dam there, but they were also taking the trees down on my side of the property.
Oh, so they were trying to take that wetland that's used to be a pond and
Right.
reestablishing?
Right.
That'd be worth seeing. Okay.
Site visit.
All right. So anyway, I do think it's unusual to have absolutely no trees since the entire, length of this area is.
It's just,
yeah.
it's not the whole area along the driveway, it's just at the end where the house is.
Yeah.
Along the driveway, there is a fair amount
Oh,
of trees.
Okay. But that would be,
It's just
that would be an appropriate mitigation, especially since if the beavers took away something that was there. And I guess you have to do another plan anyway, because you have to put in the propane tanks, and you have to do whatever labeling you have on the retaining wall that is not a retaining wall or something?
It's a cobbled border that separates the driveway from the lawn, the edge of the lawn.
And it does run in at the second corner there in front of the house, that it is a stone retaining wall, okay? But it doesn't, the stone retaining wall does not extend right to the edge of the garage there.
Oh, okay, yeah,
I would just take that off.
yep.
I was out there, it's just, it's
It's
just
two cobbles, yeah.
cobblestones that are stuck in the ground. Yeah, It's not a stone.
All right, that's it
I
for
just
me.
take that off.
Al?
As I look at this garage, I don't see how you drive into it for two-car width at the driveway side. I see the old garage, and I see stone retaining wall, but I don't see a driveway entrance into this building. So I think that has to show on here so that we know where the pavement is gonna be for the entrance to the garage. I'd like to see that cleared up a little bit. That's the only issue I have.
Is that retaining wall coming out?
No, no, again, it's just, it's mislabeled.
Where is the entrance?
The entrance will extend from the existing paved driveway to the front line of the new garage along that green line.
Stephanie, can you show us with a little visual?
Yeah, they didn't add that on the plan,
Right there we go. For
but
Al.
I'll get it added on.
Thank you, Vanna.
Thanks, Ivana.
Vanna White.
Right away.
Maybe you can.
So that's the only problem I have, is I wanna see how you get into the garage.
Okay. Anyone in the audience have any questions or comments? Please identify yourself for the record. Hearing none. Someone will move to close the hearing?
Wait, I have one more thing.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So the mitigation, what are we planning for mitigation here?
We'll.
Is
come
it
up with
850 square feet of the
in the order.
mitigation we need?
that. You have some suggestions, Landis?
I don't think it has to be the full, it has to meet, I
Does
would
it have to be one for
suggest
one?
some trees and shrubs along, even if they're just in clumps, along the area where there's no overstory, where the trees were taken out.
Okay. Mr. Callen, are the
So-
beavers still taking trees down?
I'm sorry, what's
Are
that?
the beavers still active?
No,
Okay, great. So at least they will stay.
From the top of this, top of the slope, down along the.
Yeah,
front.
not a problem.
So if you when you give us a revised plan, you'll show that area where the plantings will go and that the plantings reviewed by the agent?
Mm-hmm.
So comparable to the additional square footage, 800 and whatever.
Yeah.
So what I have is you should add the pavement where the people will be driving into the garage. Remove the note of the stone retaining wall on the plan. Note that the existing garage is to be demoed at the mitigation plan and show the plaques on the plan and the propane tank. I think that was it. So if you could revise the plan and, as Dean suggested, you need a certificate of compliance for the addition. I didn't find one. So you just can request a certificate of compliance with, this is an as-built, it's sort of an as-built already.
You know where the plaque should be? Does that show up on some other?
Yeah.
So, do you have that information, where the plaques should be located?
Right along the top of the, where the top of the embankment, where it drops down into the wetland, that's what I gathered from it.
We
You
had,
might have the original.
I have two plans here, so you can take this one.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Great. See this? You are so organized, Landis. Is that you? Did they send you in the basement? Go through the archives.
okay. Anything else? So with those items, and someone to move that for the order?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
600. Good, thank you.
Thank you.
So just to be clear, they voted the order, but we'll hold it until we get the revised plan?
Yeah, I'll get,
It won't be issued until we get the revised plan.
yeah, I'll get Jimmy on it tomorrow.
And then you should put the plaques in, the no overage plaques, and I'll come up and take that from inspection.
Nobody saying but me.
Landis, we can get plaques from you, correct?
I don't really know, because they're not supposed to suggest, but I heard maybe South Ridge Farm, or that place on South Street.
E.J. Hayes.
might have them,
E.J. Hayes,
so I've heard.
ask them.
So-
Wins. You're not really supposed to recommend anywhere. but-
Amazon.
Find them somewhere.
No, I mean, I'm giving you a hint here, Russ.
Try to be polite.
Okay, then I'll take that. Thank you.
This is, you actually have a copy, or you can have that one.
Yeah, this is for the pond.
This is for the next.
Town of Walpole notice of intent, Conservation Commission public hearing in accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, Walpole Wetlands Protection Bylaw. Notice hereby giving the intent of the Town of Walpole to allow management and treatment for aquatic nuisance vegetation in Memorial Pond located at 144 School Street, map 33, lot 39, Walpole, Mass. Notice of intent, application, and plans are filed at Conservation Commission office. Public hearing in the above matter will be held in person June 14th, 2023, beginning at 7:10 PM, or if the person requests to be present. Okay, from Board of Health, will not be able to make comments on the proposed project prior to June 14th, therefore Health Department would like to make internal comments. The Health Department has no concern with the proposed project at this time. It's from EPA. DEP, I mean. Yes, that's it, right? Okay. Representing the applicant,
That would be me,
okay.
No comments.
representing the town of Walpole. So this is a notice of intent for the pond management plan for Memorial Pond. We have similar plans for Clark's Pond and Turner's Pond, and Jarvis Pond, and Rainbow Pond has one, other ponds in town. It's, what it is, the town hires a pond management specialist to go out there and do a survey of the ponds every year to do water samples, pH, oxygen, and look to see what types of nuisance aquatic vegetation or invasive vegetation is in the pond. And then they put together a treatment plan to remove the vegetation that could cause depletion of oxygen from the pond. So in 2021, they went out there and reviewed Memorial Pond and found water chestnut, water milfoil, and fanwort in the pond. The area that was dredged, where there's a 12-foot deep pond, is pretty clear, even if you go out and take a look today, but the back portion of the pond was not dredged, so it's still quite shallow. So these nuisance vegetation, including algae, tend to take over and suffocate the pond. So we've been doing this in the town of Walpole for quite a while, and the information that was submitted by Water and Wetlands state that treating the pond with chemicals specifically designed for these nuisance aquatic vegetation is the most cost-effective and efficient way to get rid of them. Water chestnut, you do have to go and pull it out, so you might have to get some volunteers to help doing that at some point. So in order to have a professional management group come out and do this work, they have to, and treat the pond with chemicals, they have to get an order of conditions from Conservation Commission in order to apply for the DEP permit to treat the ponds. And that is what this notice intent is for.
Okay.
So you have a packet of the Water and Wetlands report with you. In the notice of intent, I don't think I
It's this.
included
Should have.
One you
all
just
of
gave
the
us.
fact sheets for the different chemicals. It's I think I listed them in my report. Sonar, and flipper and schooner are ones that are commonly used for water, milfoil, and fanwort, two main nuisance vegetation. And we always post prior to, well, once they treat, it's posted so people who go around to the ponds know that they shouldn't, obviously eat the fish, or they should keep pets out of the water for a certain period of time as well.
Dean?
How often will this need to be done?
It really depends. So for Clark's and Turner's Pond, it's been almost every year that vegetation's been treated. So they'll go and they'll look at it around May, June, and then maybe treat for something then, and then they'll go back 2 more times, one in the middle of the summer and then one in the fall, just to see how things are going.
Is this something that'll just, in perpetuity, this has to happen?
You wanna keep the weeds out.
No, I'm just saying, like,
It seems to be, unless, I mean, the only other way, well, if we could dredge all the ponds so that they're deep water, that certainly would help, because it's the shallow water that heats up the water that causes a lot of these
they're
aquatic vegetation to grow. It's people who use a lot of fertilizers and pesticides and nitrogens on their lawns, and that drains into the pond, so it's kind of like fertilizing the aquatic vegetation in the pond, so that needs to be cut down as well. Stormwater management and just in general, which we're doing a much better job at than we were in the past, but we probably.
there are infiltration galleries and everything.
Right, infiltration galleys, yep. But, yeah, right now it seems like we have to do this every year.
It's also partly because the animals that travel to the pond
Deposit things.
deposit things.
Not just wildlife, but also plants. I mean, not just like their sediments, but also seeds and such.
Well, your geese are
Yeah, the geese.
a
Geese, yeah,
big
they poop in there,
contributor.
The swans and this is a river, so even if we dredged it down to 0, it's super deep, it would still fill in again, right?
Well, that's partly where keeping salts and sands and sediments off the road and out of the catch basins helps.
And we have a catch basin cleaning program and all that. Okay, no more questions, thank you.
Doug?
When will, there's several herbicides listed here with an or, this or that. When will they determine which herbicide they're gonna use?
So each year they determine when they go out in the spring
When they do their survey?
for their survey, which type of vegetation they need to treat.
So, we don't know yet what herbicide they're going to use?
No, so this is the order of conditions to allow for the treatment. Then when they go out and they do a survey, they send me a report,
Okay,
and I always post that on the website. So if you go to conservation and on the left, there's a section there of pond treatment reports.
okay. And by that time, it'll be identified what
Should be,
herbicide?
yes.
Yeah, okay, no more questions.
Medio?
It's about 4,000 a year, you said, in the report, it says about $4,000 a year for that application, is that?
More or less.
More or less, yeah.
Heading more towards more.
More.
Okay.
More on the latest.
All right, and
In
that's,
fact, I'm just putting in capital budget for 2024, 25, and 26. It's more.
And
It goes up every year.
it's our budget, right, Conservation Commission budget?
It's not, it's capital.
Capital
budget.
Capital
budget.
Thank you.
I know we're just talking about Memorial, but would that be per pond roughly, or it depends on the size and the,
It depends on the size, so Memorial Pond is actually costs more, so it's larger. You know, because they go out there and they do the survey, they take a boat out and they go around and they take the measurements and then do the reporting, and then they come back a couple times a year, so.
Yep.
Memorial Pond is more than Turner's, and I think Clark's is the least.
Yeah.
okay, all right, thank you.
Betsy?
Yeah, that's what you have, an ornamental pond in the middle of town. Yeah, the way it
The
is.
clear water.
Yeah, it's the way it is.
No questions. Anybody in the audience have any questions or comments? Please identify yourself for the record. Hearing none. We'll close the hearings, if that's what this is for at the moment, but we'll talk about the swallow water, or the, what is it, water chestnuts. So someone make a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
600. I think just the standard,
Yeah, I think
order
we
that you
usually
have.
just stick in our order of conditions that, well, definitely that everything gets, everything gets posted prior to, treatment, and it stays after treatment, and,
I think what is standard order that we've been
standard
issuing
order
for that.
for management
For
plan.
this,
Yes,
yeah, that we've
okay.
been,
Yep.
does someone make that a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
600. Water chestnuts need to be hand pulled. We got any volunteers?
We have a volunteer.
You want to volunteer? All right.
So I can the water and waterways have, also offered to come out and work with the volunteers to remove them. Coordinate a time that works for people.
Yeah, I can get a canoe, I think. Kayaks don't work. You gotta put the water chestnuts in the boat.
Yeah, you gotta.
Just throw them back.
You think that'll work? Not enough. Okay.
Have you done it before in a kayak? You've done it with a kayak before? Oh, okay.
No, we'll try to set up something then. We can always ask
I'll
Ponds
make
Committee
some available too.
if they have any volunteers that would be willing.
Jack, I may be able to help too, but I need to know when it's gonna be.
Yeah, well, I don't know what's ideal time. Are they,
I don't know,
picking,
I'll contact them
some-
and see what is the ideal time.
it seems to me you gotta wait till the chestnuts
I
are
think
up
that you have to wait a
on
little
the
later into the
surface.
summer, yeah.
Okay, so put out an email to all of us.
I can run like a survey and see what people's availability is.
Be ready for that.
I know,
Okay.
come on, chop, chop.
All right.
Did you get the order to sign on? I was
Yeah,
going
you-
through.
I think
Oh, right.
you
There you go.
sent me that.
So efficient.
Wood Street, okay. Moving right along.
Move right on.
Notice of intent, Conservation Commission public hearing in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, Walpole Wetlands Protection Bylaw. Notice hereby given the intent of Michael McCullough of 235 Gould Street, map 17 and 72, Lot 2, Walpole, Mass., to construct an addition to an existing single-family home within the 100-foot buffer zone. Notice of intent, application, and plans are on file at the Conservation Commission office. Public hearing, the above matter will be held in person, June 14, 2023, beginning at 7:15 PM. All interested persons are requested to be present. Town engineer reviewed the submitted plan only and have no engineering comments related to the notice of intent filing. We support the applicant's request. This is, it's from the Board of Health at its June 6 meeting, voted unanimously that the Board of Health has no concerns. However, Board of Health is not in favor of construction within the 100-foot buffer zone. Board also has a long-standing stance on protecting the wetlands and water sources, as well as protecting residents from human vector-borne illnesses. If the project is approved, the board urges the applicant to adopt the standard best practices for mosquito mitigation, work with Norfolk County Mosquito Control for spraying and standing water treatments, as well as providing proper grading of buffer zone areas in order to prevent low points that draw and hold water. Okay. Representing the applicant?
Russ Waldron, Applied Ecological Sciences. So the project involves the removal of the existing front landing and steps, the front walk, and an existing stone retaining wall. And that's all going to get replaced with a farmer's porch and a new walk and a redesigned walk going out to the driveway and a new stone retaining wall all along here. And when I was putting the filing together, I was under the impression that Mike Freiberg, the landscape manager, project manager, was going to be doing a fair amount of lawn renovation and regrading, but I was just talking with Mike McCullough here, the owner and applicant, that that's not the case. What they're going to do is basically, that work is going to focus on regrading and blending the existing lawn area where the existing retaining wall is going to come out. And so again, farmer's porch off the front, new stone steps, stone walk, and stone retaining wall.
Okay. Landis?
So I think the plan that everyone has in front, dated May 15th, is the revised plan. So originally there was a plan that showed some work up to the side yard. So that's what Russ was clearing up. The other thing is, so there's no grade shown on the plan, and I've been out there, I understand it's flat, but I really need grades on the plan, because otherwise we have no idea whatsoever if it's, where these things are sited. But I know it's flat in the front where you're changing the proposed farmer's porch, proposed walk. Sometimes if you also submit pictures, that at least helps. The commissioners get an idea of what's out there. But this is such a small project that I'm not necessarily pushing for grades, because I know it's an expense, but we'll see what the commissioners feel, because it's their vote. But I'm very familiar with this lot, unfortunately, because it's had problems in the past. These two houses probably should have never been built, because it's a very low area, and regardless of recent activity, which I think has probably compounded it, it's always had water issues here. So when this was approved, the plan did have a 10-foot no alteration area where the shed is. So I think in this plan, you're showing that you'll move the shed away from the wetlands area by at least 10 feet. Is that correct?
At least it may get relocated somewhere else in the yard.
But I just
Yeah.
want to hear from the homeowner, you're committed to at least moving it 10 feet off the,
Yes, Michael McCullough.
thank you. The plan also showed a split rail fence, so that's also on the plan.
So what,
And I know the wetlands were slightly different back then as well. I think they've grown a little bit, based on probably saturation of soil for a bunch of different reasons. Address the split rail fence.
yeah, I mean, the original plan that I saw, which I assume was for the development of the lot, had only this area here flagged as wetland, and then it had the buffer zone from this portion of the wetland across the street. I'm not really sure what's going on with the hydrology between the lots up and back and this, but the day I went out and flagged it, there was, or there is, on the neighboring property, groundwater is just breaking out, bubbling out of the ground, just continuously. And so that has caused the drainage from that to run down right along the tree line. And as such, it's been doing it long enough, so the wetland beds just followed it right up slope. Where that hydrology comes from, I don't know. Landis mentioned that there were some issues with the development in back with stormwater.
It's not issues, the comment has come up once that development went in, that I think the previous owner of this lot was concerned that the runoff was coming from that new development.
Ah,
But I will also say that even prior, I've been here for 21 years, prior to that development going in, this lot had issues. And when the old plan showed a pipe to, I think, collect the water from the backside of the lot and run it down across the other lot to the larger wetlands. And I think you worked with the town engineer to collect some of the water to run in a pipe in between the two lots. And they put it in the catch basin, so, because it was running off your lot, in between the two lots onto Gould Street and causing an icing problem. So glad that got fixed, but, yeah, it may need additional, I mean, if you look at Anderson's old plan, it has a pipe,
right.
which was never put in.
All right, well, where all this hydrology comes from to cause this is,
Right, it may have.
I don't know,
compounded
I don't know what's
by
going on over there on the neighbor's yard, but water just runs out of the ground there continuously, right next to their shed, so, you know, that's why the wetland crept up slope like it did. And, one thing I'd like to, request in lieu of a split rail fence, because of the additional cost of that will, tag onto these folks' budget, I might suggest, you know, the posts with the plaques, keep their costs down some along that 10-foot.
I would say that at one time, we used the split rail fence prior to having the plaques,
Yeah,
that was the means for denoting the separation from upland to we had a 10-foot buffer,
right.
and so that, one of the problems with that is the split rail fences don't last forever. So,
No, they don't. They last a long time, though.
depends where they were, and
Yeah.
I think the plaques are, this is why we went to the plaques.
Yeah, all right, cool.
So,
That's all I have.
okay. Dean?
Yeah, so without the contour lines, I'm just curious on the wall. Why does the wall, I'm looking at your lot here on the street views from the Googles. Why do you need the wall to go all the way this out, far towards the street? Are you gonna fill your yard in? Or is it the wall's gonna kind of fade?
If I can speak, I'm Jennifer McCullough, the homeowner. As far as I can recall in this picture, I think the wall's coming out. The picture right now where the red is, it's not going to come that far. The end of it's gonna kind of slope down.
Okay, so there's not gonna be.
If you can see, and
Yeah.
it's hard to see, sorry, I didn't realize we should have sent pictures. We would have sent like millions of them. Yeah, so sorry, do you want to speak?
You know, I think essentially, so that tier that is created by the retaining wall in the front, where the current walkway comes up, that will just be converted and, into a sloping hill. But the intent is not to fill that in and have that hill slope significantly down into the front yard. So, in talking with Mike Freiberger, the landscaper, the expectation is it's minimal sort of change there, more just changing from a tier to a hill.
Yeah.
And as far as the wall, yeah, I think Jen's right. I think it's sort of an approximate endpoint, but it's not there intended to hold up additional new soil.
And if I can give a little more context, we're changing the walkway. Like you can see when you walk down our front stairs now, you kind of have to go all the way around to the driveway. So we're making it so that it's more accessible to the garage and to where cars are parked. There's a little parking area on the side. So in changing where the walkway is going to be, it's going to be a straight 90-degree angle to the left towards where the garage is. In doing that, we just kind of need to make sure we have a little more wall after that walkway, and then it's going to slope down. So it's not going to go much further than where the walkway is now, was kind of what we were thinking.
Okay, no more questions for me, thank you.
Doug?
The drawing shows the location, the new location of the shed, but I don't see the existing location on the drawing.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, we noticed that
talking
as
to
well.
Mike about that. It's basically like where, if you can see where the new location of shed arrow is, there's almost like a box behind that red dotted line where it is now. So it's really just moving it off of the line forward. Like right now, it's like,
It's almost on the property line, actually, right now, the back of it.
Okay.
it's just being, it would just be moved about 10 feet forward
Yeah.
from where it currently is.
10 feet further from the wetlands.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay,
Technically east,
okay, thank you.
Video?
west.
So you'd rather put plaques instead of the fencing, is that what you're saying?
It'd be a lot less expensive, yeah.
You want the plaques anyhow.
Well, yeah, regardless,
So
right?
what the purpose is, so I think we've just been using plaques in
Right,
recent years, so.
I know. The plaque shouldn't be on the fence, right? They should be in the ground anyway, regardless if you put a fence there or not, but,
Yeah, we'll put them on the posts.
and it's grass right now, right between, yeah.
Yeah, it's all lawn, right up to the tree line.
And it's 10 feet, Landis, because that's what it was approved for, 10-foot back?
Yeah,
Or-
yeah, that's what's written in the order of conditions
Okay.
for the house construction, so I think
It's
it's.
from 1988, right? That's what it says on this plan.
No,
1996. I think it
Oh,
was.
oh, oh. 2007, we had 10 foot?
I take that
The
back.
house was built in 97,
Yeah, that was, the house was built in the
96.
late 90s. I don't know if it was 96 or 98, but I think one
At
of
one
the two.
time, that we were using a 10-foot
Right,
buffer.
right, that's why I said 1988 is,
No,
No?
that definitely wasn't that far.
well, it was 2007, because.
30 years ago, for the record.
Well, the house was
yeah.
built in I want to say 97, so I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
I think it was around that time,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we're still 10 back in that.
I'm
All right, well,
not
it's,
sure.
okay.
Memory does a funny thing.
Come on, Jack.
I'll let you, I'll call you at 2 in the morning when I remember.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, that's,
That's it?
I'm okay with, so are we okay with no split rail? Split rail, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think that's,
All right, okay, that's it.
that's it.
No comments.
Al?
My only comment is, I see this proposed walk, a square corner, and we all know that nobody's gonna come straight out from the stairs and then make a 90-degree corner to get to the paved driveway where the car is. They're gonna go across the corner, a curve or a diagonal. Why don't you show the realistic, nobody makes a 90-degree turn when they're walking.
I'm not totally sure I follow, but
No,
yeah.
I believe the way it's shown here, when we were talking about it, we were walking the property, it's not gonna be like, it's
Yeah,
gonna be
it might be a bit of
kind
a
of like
curve
he's
to
using,
get there.
when he's using he
Yeah.
was talking about the laying out of the bricks, like, I think it's gonna be a little more of a gradual than like a total 90-degree turn.
Yeah,
That's
probably a
what
bit of a
should
curve.
show there, you know,
Okay.
because that's not realistic.
Fair enough.
Okay, anybody in the audience have any questions or comments? Please identify
I just
yourself
have
for the
one more-
record.
I
Go
just
ahead.
have one more comment, sorry. And you might have explained this, I don't, so where the existing steps and concrete wall is now to be removed, that's just gonna be grass area?
Yes,
right?
grass.
So that could just be put on the plan too.
Okay.
Okay. Hearing nothing, someone will make a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
I was thinking,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, we're checking the plaques. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that'd be 7 plaques. You wanna check on your drawing what we've got shown here, so you can mark them. Come up, take a look and mark yours.
yeah, I can just give
Or
this.
give-
I can
oh, you
give
got an
them
extra?
this. Yeah, so
Okay.
right, so where you're
Okay.
taking out the existing structure, just to indicate that that's gonna be grass area. And I'll show you where the plaques should go. I guess just give your walkway a gentle curve.
You wanna mark mark this one.
Is there anything else? Oh, I can give him this one.
Just give him that one.
I already marked it on this one.
Okay, then you would need them, okay.
Oh, you wanna keep the mark? Okay, yeah.
Well, just so we have some
I got it, hold on.
record of what we are expecting.
Yeah.
And,
Yours is an old plan.
okay. Okay. Well, the plaques will be the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll remember, because it
Okay.
was pretty much where the slightly bend
Yeah.
is.
Okay. Okay, so subject to the,
We took a picture of it?
Detail, you can have this.
Oh, okay.
revisions on the plan and the plaques.
I can email. I'll email it to
Possibly,
you.
yeah.
Compost. I can email.
Was there anything else that we needed besides the plaques and the other comments we made with revisions?
There is a place you can get the plaques.
Okay, so make that motion then?
Yeah, yeah.
All in
I was
favor?
trying to read
Aye.
between the lines, sort of.
6-0.
I'm good. Lip
Okay,
reader.
thank you. We'll need the revised plan, and then
Yep.
we'll issue the order. Okay.
We good? We good?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We did.
Once we get the revised plan, then we'll process the order and wait for the registry of deeds and then we're good to go.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Folks.
Where are we? Are we finished with 7 o'clock yet?
Hey, how are you?
7:20. Need your iron.
I just usually look at them and I crunch them out. I don't have the page before.
Town of Walpole, notice of intent, Conservation Commission public hearing. Accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, Walpole Wetlands Protection Bylaw notice, hereby giving the intent of David and Shannon Recco of 9 Musket Lane, map 8 and 10, lot 4, Walpole, Mass, to construct an outdoor patio and grading the 50-foot buffer zone. The notice of intent, application, and plans are on file at the Conservation Commission office. Public hearing in the above matter will be held in person June 14th, 2023, beginning at 7:20 PM. All interested persons request to be present. Let's see what we have here from the town engineer. He's reviewed the drawings, the plans. The plan shows the amount of erosion control on the abutting lot, as well as incomplete grading near the northeast corner of the proposed patio. Proposed 237-foot contour ties into property line, but not into an existing 237-foot contour. These are not big issues, however, the applicant is obliged to stay within their ownership unless agreements with the abutter are in place. You aware of this comment? Okay. Okay, representing the applicant?
Russ Waldron, Applied Ecological Sciences. So the project involves the construction of a 1,030 square foot outdoor paver patio with steps, walk, and a field stone wall, and associated grading to go with that. Approximately 1,524 square feet. Additionally, the owners propose to do some additional grading out here in the back. And there is an existing play area that's, as I understand it, is going to get removed, is going away. And I'm guessing the grading out back is to level it a little bit more so the kids have a flat area to kick the soccer ball around and whatnot. Mike Freiberg sent Landis and I an email today, because we were wondering, when Landis and I were out there, we were looking at the slope, and we're thinking, you know, for the amount of grading that they were planning, they were gonna need some kind of a retaining wall. Based on Mike's email, they're not gonna use the wall, they're gonna blend it, and on the downslope side, if they have to, put some riprap along it to keep everything stable. But they're,
Where on the plan is this?
that would be along here, up in here. But at the moment, he's not proposing any retaining walls out in that area. And that's pretty much it. The guys, Jimmy at Dunn McKenzie, who drafted the plan, he, you know, I always tell him, put the silt fence along the 25, and that's what he did. And section of the 25 extends over onto the neighbor's yard, but he just ran along that anyways. But we'll make sure all that is on site.
All right. Was that the place that had a sports court in the back that's shown on there? Okay.
Unfortunately, they never built it.
So, I did go out there with Russ. First of all, I had a real problem with this plan because I couldn't read it. Because I couldn't read it.
The what, the plan?
The grades,
Oh.
even with my glasses on and with the digital copy, it's really hard to read the numbers,
Oh, yeah,
grades.
Jim's famous for that and his tiny
So
numbers.
something was sent today, which they're a little bit larger. I'm looking at them on my phone now because it was really late that it came in and you could see. So the rear area is gonna run from 235 over to, I think, 236, so it'll be a gradual, just a slight, it's not gonna be totally flat, but just slight slope.
Mm-hmm.
51,000 is a big one.
Yeah, so the plan needs to be revised so that it can be read, the numbers. It's really hard to understand. You need a wall, I mean, us standing out there, it looked like you needed a wall. But it's very hard to read the numbers. So, and the town engineer's comments with the grading, so you have the corner of the proposed outdoor area right on the property line, and the grade going into the property line boundary, but not into a grade itself. So, yeah, that needs to be correct.
Yeah, I'll send those over to Jim, and he'd be able to address them better than I can.
And so the whole proposed deck area is gonna be patio pavers, so is that gonna be impervious or pervious?
Probably impervious, I would assume. If they're laid dry, then, you know, there would be some avenue for infiltration there.
Pretty large area, so you might wanna address where the runoff is going and not onto the neighbor's property. So the plan that was sent to me tonight shows a little more detail of what's going there. But we don't necessarily need to know if there's a pizza oven. Sounds nice.
Oh, sweet.
So in addition to that, when I went out there, so there was a
Where's the pizza?
previous filing for the house.
Okay.
This one was back in 2005, I mixed it up with the last filing. And there was a requirement for a fence, there's a chain link fence out there, and there's plaques on the fence, and then the fence ends. And I did notice that where the fence ends, there was kind of opening, and there was a plaque right where the yard was being dumped. So no alteration means no alteration, including dumping of yard waste. So that needs to be closed up, and then just another area, either take it to the town compost area or
We-
find it further away.
We discussed that with the landscapers too, yes. I think it was being done and they thought it was okay, but I did
Yeah,
tell them
sure.
to stop.
Yeah.
They're completely understood.
And then I would suggest, again, just having either posts and plaques all the way down along the edge of this 25-foot no alteration area. And the play area was put in, but it wasn't permitted, so that was done a couple years ago, I think, looked like from the aerials.
Yes, yeah.
And are you gonna move it, cause part of it's on another person's property?
Correct, yeah. The plan is to grade the back, which is sloped, and put the swing set on, just back there, without, a ride, like at the play area, just on the grass.
So you're gonna move the raised bed where the play area now is on?
We're gonna take it out completely.
All right, so that should be shown on the plan, so
Okay.
you just they need to show, to be removed. And show how the grade's gonna go, where that is now.
We need to get, a butter's permission to remove that, whatever's in their property.
I can get that.
Okay, so those are the only comments I have, is just, I need a plan where you can, I know, can read what these grade numbers are, and, you need to remove the play area, write that on the plan, clean up the grades around the patio. Maybe think about where the runoff from the patio is gonna go, and, I recommend that the commission, require posts and plaques all the way down to the end.
Okay? Dean?
So you're gonna revise the silt sacks to be not just this 25-foot buffer, but along the tree line, on the edge of the work?
Right.
Because you're gonna drive a truck back there, right? And probably a bulldozer, or some small piece of equipment.
Could be, yeah, probably.
So we wanna, if you could show some arrows on, truck travel, and if you're gonna be stockpiling here, which you are going to be doing, because you're gonna be grading, it's just, we have to ensure that you are stabilizing all of that slope and material and area as quick as you can, because that is direct avenue to our wetland. And if we add all this fill in, it is a huge square area. What are you gonna do with all the timber from the swing set? I don't know.
Probably get rid of it, or
Yeah.
maybe Mike could use it elsewhere.
Mike will
It's-
probably
Yeah, it's
use
pressure
some-
treated, so, it depends on how easily it comes apart.
Yeah.
If they just decide to do it quick and dirty, just chainsaw it and in
Yeah.
the truck and
Let's-
gone.
Let's make sure that's off-site and it doesn't find
yeah.
its way under some of this material here that they need. And then, same thing with this area, when you slope it, you should stabilize it as quick as you can. I know this around your patio, so is the intention obviously to fill this and then do the patio?
Yeah.
Fill the back, stabilize it, and then do the patio work?
Mhm.
Great. I think Landis is right about the water from that patio, because the way that your yard is sloped is towards the wetlands, but in order to do that, he'd have to slope it towards the steps. So he may slope it to the, where is it, north? I would just be cognizant that, make sure it doesn't slope off-site. And same thing with the travel path. It seems like you'd be driving on your neighbor's property to get to the back, which should ensure you want to keep that all on your property,
Oh, yep. Yeah.
for all your trucking.
Yep.
That's all I have.
Doug?
Yeah, right above the general notes, there is a reference to the flood zones being marked with X's. Is that on a different drawing? I don't see can you show me where the flood zones are, these X's?
It's within flood zone X.
It's within flood zone.
Oh, flood zone X, it's a FEMA term.
Oh, okay. I
It's
kept
on
looking
page
on the
three
drawing
of that.
for the X's, but, okay. No more questions.
Medio?
Is the proposed patio right on the lot line? No, am I looking at the wrong line there?
No, you are. It's the right line.
It is on the line.
It's close to it.
Yeah, it looks like it's a foot off.
Yeah, the corner of it's close.
Okay, all right. And that play area is, like you said, is it on the other abutters?
The corner of it is, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, I don't have no other questions.
That's it?
So two questions. So Russ, because at first you said you and Landis had gone out there and thought that maybe a retaining wall was in order. Are you okay with riprap? I mean, do you think that's
Yeah.
gonna work?
Yeah. I mean, if it's necessary, it'll stabilize a slope just as good as a retaining wall will.
Okay. And then another question is, I'm just sort of studying this. So you've got some sort of a walking path or lawn in the 25-foot to get out there, right?
It's all lawn, yeah.
And what was the situation originally when this was permitted? I mean, what,
That was allowed.
oh, okay.
Well, I think if this is the lot I'm thinking of, they had permission from the abutter to access this area from the abutter's property.
Really?
If this is, was this the one where they're gonna put a sports
Yes.
court?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And they were gonna come in to this area from the abutter's property.
Right, as well, yeah.
But that's-
And there was a path, though, up the back.
but that's not the case anymore, I would imagine. I
No,
can't
but that
imagine.
was for access for the heavy equipment,
Right,
was gonna
right.
come in from the abutter's
Yeah.
property.
There's a path near the play area, I think, that goes off.
Oh.
That was a long time ago, wasn't it? When was that? That was a long time.
Construction. They never did it.
Okay.
It was
Instead, they,
August of,
They'll call you at 2:30 in the morning for that one.
But now they're gonna be doing some construction, now they're bringing rocks out there and stuff, so. Permission from the neighbors? I don't know.
Do you know your neighbors?
Yes, it's the same neighbors that lived there and provided permission for the sports court, but there, I think you could access that back area from our driveway into the yard. I don't think we would need to go in their yard for, maybe like for a large
I think
sports
that's what
court equipment.
Dean was saying, that they need to show on the plan
Where,
that you can access through the narrow lawn area
Yep.
that
In the
exists
25
now.
foot.
It's gonna be within
in
the
the
25.
It's already
25.
lawn. It's already lawn.
Okay,
It's already disturbed.
Yes, it's already disturbed.
okay.
And then obviously be restored after that.
Yep,
Back to
yep,
the
to
lawn.
where it was,
You-
okay.
You need to show, you need to move the silt sock back to the tree line, and then you need to show arrows. He'll probably take, he has small equipment that he
Yeah,
can
it's
probably
gonna
get
be a
back there.
mini,
Yeah, he's got mini excavators.
It's gonna be a
and stuff
mini.
like that. And he's got
or like a,
golf course things that probably
it's gonna be a skid steer. and a
Load.
mini.
rip wrap and stuff like that, so he has, but you need to show them, you need to show them. So is that?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Anything else that-
That's it, thanks.
Now, now that we've cleared up the access to what was such a controversial sports area back there, you know, it was a problem, and I'm glad to see that we've resolved that. Okay, so that's all I have to say.
You said that's all pressure treated, the framing around that play area?
I think it is, or
Well, whatever it is,
we're just out there yesterday. Is that pressure treated or just pine?
well, we should just make a
I can't remember.
note,
It's probably.
if in the order, that if that material's removed and disposed of properly.
It's landfill waste, he's gonna get a dumpster.
Whatever it is, it's just not,
Yeah, I had
Done.
removed off-site.
yeah.
Strong.
Or if they were gonna reuse it on
Throw it in the
site,
wet
that's all right, but if it's just gonna be disposed of, then it's done off-site.
Yep.
All right. Anybody in the audience have any questions or comments, please identify yourself for the record. Hearing none, someone make a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
600. So we got the order with the comments we
Yeah, I
made.
just wanna go over, so the revisions to the plan is to stabilize the slope, the back part of the property, stabilize the slope with rip wrap, is what you're saying. So that's what he's doing, he needs to show it on the plan.
And if he decides a wall, We need to see that.
Voila.
However he's gonna stabilize that slope, we need to show on the plan, either notes or indicate riprap. The play, include on the plan that the play area is to be removed off-site, disposed of properly. Move the silt sock back so you can access the property, and arrows indicating that there's an, that's the direction of, going back and forth. And,
Can we put a timeline on stabilization, like planting and stabilization?
yeah, I'm just going over the revisions of the plan, then you guys can go over the order of conditions, but just the, so, and then the other gradings close to the wetlands off of the proposed deck and pavers, is gonna be stabilized with how, if that could be stated on the plan. Most efficient, quickest way to stabilize that, and then I think you really need to address the stormwater coming off the proposed deck and pavers, because that's a pretty large area. I mean, that's almost like an addition, of
1,000 feet? It's as big as this
area
road.
that, so if it's going into a little trench or something, it should be addressed. As far as, so that revised plan needs to be to the commission for them to issue the order, and what do you want in order? What was that, what was your
So
comment?
stabilization timeline, what's a typical stabilization timeline? What's appropriate, Landis?
Well, it should be stable, it should be stable upon final grade with,
Okay, you don't think there'll be like crazy runoff if it's just dirt for like 60 days?
Do we need to get anything
What do you mean?
clarified with, they are on neighbor's property, that they'll be doing some work on your neighbor's property? Have you talked to your neighbor about what you're planning to do? Particularly removing that play area?
Slightly, but I'll make sure it's clear.
right, so the commission can't approve an order of conditions on someone else's property, so as far as this order, it's removal of the play area on your property.
Okay.
You may just want to get something from them that says that
Writing.
you can remove
Okay.
that section of it
Sure.
that's on their property. Our order should just, reflect that is
Yeah.
what's on the applicant's property. Anything else? All right, so with those conditions, someone make that a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
600.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Better save that one, that's worthy of,
Use a shadow box. Preserve its
another one.
pristine condition.
I think I was looking for a friend for the site visit, and I just quickly grabbed the one from the file, and then I realized that it said file on it, so I just like folded it, had to flatten it back out,
Good
stuck it in.
Mine first.
Are we here, huh?
It's this one.
Where are
We
we?
don't have a big plan for it.
We're not ready yet for that's done. Minebrook. Town of Walpole, request for determination of applicability, Conservation Commission, public hearing in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Wetlands Protection Act, Walpole Wetlands Protection Bylaw. Notice hereby given the intent, Town of Walpole to perform maintenance, work to remove solids buildup within the existing water transition mains at Minebrook Wellfield, Willis Water Treatment Plant, and the Washington Street Wellfield Delaney Water Treatment Plant in Walpole, Mass. Plans for this request for determination of applicability on file at the Conservation Commission office. Public hearing, the above matter will be held in person June 14, 2023, beginning 7:25 PM. All interested persons requested to be present. From the town engineer. I fully support this project and have no technical comments. I was present when Rick Scott performed similar work at Delaney 25 years ago and was impressed with the dewatering basin used in that effort. That was from town engineer. Okay, representing the applicant.
Good evening, my name is Megan Kearns. I'm a wetland scientist with Weston and Sampson.
Scott Kessel, Superintendent of Sewer and Water.
And we're here to discuss the RDA filed proposing maintenance work to remove iron and manganese and solids buildup within the existing raw water main at the Mine Brook well fields, which is near the Willis Water Treatment Plant, and the Washington Street well fields, which is near the Delaney Water Treatment Plant. As you mentioned, similar work was performed in 2001 and 1999. So the town has submitted an RDA for this work. It's exempt under the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act from filing an NOI under 10.022A2, which is activities conducted to maintain, repair, or replace, but not substantially enlarge existing structures such as electric, gas, sewer, water, telephone, etc. So the Mine Brook well fields, which is near the Willis Water Treatment Plant, is located near Leonard Road. It's mostly surrounded by residential houses, wetlands, and the commuter railroad. Mine Brook is a mapped perennial stream, and it's located to the west of the site. You can't actually see it on this map. It's too far away. And the Washington Street well fields, which is on this map, is located off Washington Street, near the DPW yard, the town forest, the high school, and some overhead power lines. School Meadow Brook is a mapped perennial stream that's located along the southern portion of the site. You can see some flags right here, and these blue dotted lines are riverfront area. It doesn't actually extend into the work area, but it's on the plans for your reference. So back to the Mine Brook well fields. I'll go back to this map so you can take a look. The scope of work includes maintenance to remove the iron and manganese solids buildup. Part of the project involves the cleaning of 1,650 linear feet of 8-inch, 3,250 linear feet of 10-inch, 3,650 linear feet of 12-inch, and 1,250 linear feet of 16-inch ductile iron and cement-lined cast iron water mains. They'll be using a hydraulic polyurethane pigging method. If you're not familiar with pipe pigging, it's a method to remove dirt. It's not an actual pig. It removes dirt and debris without dismantling the pipeline. The pig is a weighted foam cylinder that is sent down the pipeline to provide a physical and mechanical cleaning to clear any sediment and removes it on the discharge end of the pipe. At the water treatment plant, the water and solids will flow into multiple 21,000-gallon open-top tanks. These tanks will have weirs that separate the tanks into two chambers. Waters and solids will enter the tank in the first chamber and then flow over the weir into the second chamber. When the tank's full, an operator will activate a valve to direct the flow into the next tank. At this specific site, there'll be 4 tanks available for water and collection. Once the pigging operation is complete, the water will go into a sediment collection bag, go through hay bales, and discharge into the existing water treatment settling basin. It's actually the settling basin right here. The second one, you'll see there's one here. It's not actually there anymore. This is an old aerial, so that doesn't currently exist. There are just 2 settling basins at that site. At the Washington Street site, they'll be cleaning approximately 2,170 linear feet of 8-inch and 3,000 linear feet of 12-inch using the same pigging method described earlier. There will be 2 tanks available at this site for the water. There's less water at this site. And again, when the pigging is complete, it'll go through sediment treatment bags, through hay bales, and discharge into this wetland system here. The work is anticipated to begin in late summer or early fall of this year and take about 4 weeks to complete. As I mentioned, the pipe cleaning work will take place all within existing water main structures, so there'll be minimal to no wetland impacts There'll be some temporary impacts to buffer zones with the setup of the discharge system and BMPs, but those are temporary and will be removed once the work is done. At the Minebrook site, there's about 675 square feet of work in the buffer zone, and at the other site, there's about 3,400 square feet of work. Basically, the whole site is in, as you can see, in the buffer zone here. And there's no work in riverfront area. I did mention there were 2 perennial streams, but they are far enough away that there's no work in riverfront area. I'll open it up for questions.
Landis?
I think I have any specific questions. Thank you for coming in and the RDA. I know you're going to be filing a notice in time, so it's always good to hear what's going on, just like we get calls and stuff, so we can also inform people if they question what's going on. So I'm, satisfied that you're doing a great job, and recommend to the commission a -5, which would be under 10.022A2, meaning it's maintenance project, so it doesn't require notice of intent.
Okay. Dean?
I have some questions, just mostly for my learning. So the pigging will be done from the pump house to the basins?
Yes.
So all the piping is underground, and we are going to be putting the pig in at the pump house, and we're gonna be flushing it with water?
That's correct. What happens is you go to the pumping station, you insert the pig, and then you use the water pressure from the existing equipment to move it down the line. What you want is that pressure. It's not really about velocity. It's about having that pressure move it down the line at the scouring action, and you're going in the direction of the treatment plant where the pig is received. And you do that at each pump station.
So how are you, so there must be some sort of vessel in the pump station where you're pumping the water out?
Well, there's more than one way to do it. One way to do it is from inside the station, and when that's not feasible, it's outside. We have a T that's in line outside of the station, and as part of this project, we're actually be installing 2 that are required. So it depends on location, but it's right adjacent to the pump station.
I'm just making sure there's none of the sediment's gonna make it into those basins, right? None of the metals or?
No.
Okay, so you're gonna pump it all out, it's gonna go into frac tanks, and then you drain the tanks and take the sediment away?
Right.
Okay.
Yep, I'll go through a filter bag and hay bales before, and the settling tank. So, quite a few BMPs.
No more questions, thanks.
Is this a maintenance procedure that you do like every 10 years, or what?
It's less frequent than that. To my knowledge, it's only been done once, so I've been here, these 2 times that were mentioned in the report, late 1990s, early 2000. Prior to 1998, there was no water treatment plant for the Washington side of town. For the Delaney plant, didn't exist. It went straight into the distribution system without any filtration. In North Walpole, the Harold Willis plant, we had a plant from 1975 till 2004. That was removed, and we have an ultrafiltration plant. Right before that plant was constructed, we had that pigging take place as well.
Okay, that's it.
Medium?
No questions.
That's it?
So I'm just wondering, that's really interesting, all this, where's the sediment going to? Is it going to the town compost site or something, or where does it go?
That's going to be removed by the contractor. It's not staying in town.
Good, it's not going to the compost.
No.
You don't want
I
it.
don't know.
Yeah, you don't want it in the compost, just have metals or something.
All right, yes,
Al?
No questions.
In the audience, any questions or comments? Please identify yourself for the record. Hearing none. Someone make a motion to close the hearing?
Al?
So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
600. This is, so, you
It's a
need to
-5.
sign anything? Negative?
That exempt from filing a notice of intent because it's a maintenance project.
So we have to sign something just, for that? -5.
You can vote to -5.
So we'll make a motion for a -5.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor, 600. Good, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Thanks, nice seeing you too.
There we go. Let's take a 30-minute break. Gotta get my blood flowing for this next one.
What'd you do to your wrist?
Golfing. Golfing. So
At
stupid.
least you weren't playing a tiny violin.
Tiny violin. I was thinking about, I can't now. I was gonna come in here, but
Next time.
hopefully not this next time. I had to get an MRI. Did we get an MRI? It's awful.
We call a recess for.
The noise.
Noise, you know what, honestly, it's not the noise, it's like, you must stay still. And it starts getting to your head, like
And that's,
20,
we have
30
one more
minutes.
hearing, right?
I can't move, but I have to. Just twitch, you start twitching, because you're like, don't move. Try it.
My wife's had a number
I was
of them,
wondering if
she's
they're waiting for-
claustrophobic.
They're
Oh,
here
jeez,
for
She doesn't
the
like that.
amendment
It's
issue.
unfun,
Oh,
not a fun experience. Bop, 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 bop,
Oh.
so loud.
should we take them?
I think that's gonna need some discussion.
Oh, it's gonna take some,
South
okay, all right,
Street,
all right, all right, all right.
Steph, can we get an update on Micro Clover?
Summer Street, I mean.
Still green?
All right.
I told them about 9.
So far.
Good job, Doug.
Can we take a 5-minute break though?
I mean, not 5 minutes, 2 minutes.
20 minutes?
I'll be fast.
20 minutes?
We'll take a short break.
Don't hurt yourself.
Properties of 15 Pinnacle Drive, map 19, parcel 49 and 182. Plans are filed to Conservation Commission Office. Public hearing. Matter will be held in person April 26, 2023, beginning 7 p.m. All interested person requested to be present. Hearing's been opened and continued. We did have a site visit a couple of weeks ago. Representing the applicant.
Good evening, Lou Petrozzi for Wall Street Development Corp. As you may recall, we met on site. We had a site visit conducted in 2 separate groups. And I think we're here basically to request that the commission find that that it's a degraded site, previously developed, and that allow us to go forward with construction of the new house that we're planning on that lot. I have photographs to refresh your memories if you want. But this is the overlay plan, which really showing that there's a lot previously developed, part of the bird complex operation. And I think you folks were able to see on site the level of material that's been pushed over and the steepness of the slope that was left behind after the filling of the property for the Pinnacle subdivision. So, I don't know, I think we've given as much information as we can, and we ask that the commission approve the project.
Okay. Plans?
All right, so the commissioners wanted to go out and take a look. What's the date of that plan?
This photograph is 1971.
1971.
Right. We have, if you want to look at others, we have 2001. We have, this one here is
So that
1995.
That plan shows the existence of the structures in 1971.
Correct, correct.
So just because you put, if you put up a board with a picture on it, if you could just say what date it is.
Okay, sure. No, this is the 1971.
Since we're
overlay.
asking for these, there was one you showed us on the site visit that was a little after 2001 that showed great heaps of stuff on
Well,
the site. We saw it, we didn't see it here, but we saw it on the site visit because you had some in the back of your car.
well, these were the same photographs. This one here is
Okay, that's the one.
2000, and this is 2008
Yeah, with piles of stuff.
with the still
Yeah.
dumping area that's on the lot. Paul, you can take a look.
And what's the plan below? What
This
date
one
is that?
here is 1995.
So that's when they did the grading for the subdivision.
Well, this is when they started removal of all the tracks that were in this location. We don't know whether or not the subdivision didn't exist at that time because it wasn't approved until 1989. So this just shows what they
And what
had.
is the date of that? 1995, you said, right?
I think you said this was.
Yeah, oh yeah, sorry, this is 1995, I'm sorry.
Okay, so it looks
So
like
this was the subdivision that was roughed in at that time.
looks like
And you can see from the comparison that this was all filled in.
And the next one that shows the piles at a later date.
Well, the
2008.
2008, it shows that they were using it for a dumping area and
Thank you.
putting that on top, so.
So they were using as a dumping area in 2008, or for the subdivision.
I don't know what they were using it for, I mean, but does
Your
it really?
photos show that there was piles of stuff being placed on these lots for the subdivision.
We don't know if it was for the subdivision or not. It was, the lot was dumped on and filled, and so whether or not it was a culmination of the debris that was on site or the stuff that was there previously that they pushed over and filled on the site.
One shows it sort of graded flat, and the other shows it, a later date shows it with piles.
What is flat to you? I mean, flat means flat. This thing is not flat. It drops 25 feet down to the grade
On the lot.
on the adjacent lot.
On the lot.
Right, so anyways, these are the photographs. I think you folks all had a chance to see the rear of the lot where it's all drops off 20, 25 feet back of the lot with the debris that's exposed. I don't know what else I can show you other than that it's clearly a degraded, it's clearly previously developed, and it's clearly a degraded parcel of land.
Okay, so, excuse me, so these were brought up the last hearing, the questions that need to be addressed. One, was the lot recorded on or after 10/6/97? I think the commission discussed this last time, that 15 Pinnacle was recorded as lot 24 prior to 10/6/97, but then was reconfigured under 2004 ANR to 24A, therefore losing its status as a pre-existing, pre-riverfront lot. Two, the commission needs to make a factual determination. Is lot 24A a previously developed riverfront area defined under 10.585 as areas degraded prior to August 7th, 1996 by impervious surfaces from existing structures or pavements, absence of topsoil, junkyards, or abandoned dumping grounds? If yes, performance standards 10.58 A through G apply. If not, 10.584 applies. And that it's currently a degraded riverfront area. That's why I kind of asked, because it's a little, even from your photographs, a little unclear, the piles that are there now. Were they put after 1997, or were they put prior to 1997? Were they put there when they were developing the, wait a minute, were they put there when they were developing the subdivision, or were they put there before that? So that's why I was bringing that up. And then 3, performance standards 10.585A, so if the commission agrees that it's previously developed riverfront area with degraded riverfront area, you have to meet the performance standards, and A is at a minimum, proposed work shall result in an improvement over existing conditions of the capacity of the riverfront area to protect the interest of the act. So there has to be an improvement. When a lot is previously developed but no portion is degraded, the requirements of 10.584 shall be met. So the question is a portion of the riverfront area degraded on lot 24A? So those are the questions the commission should address. And if the commission agrees that the riverfront area on lot 24A is previously developed degraded riverfront area, then under performance standard 10.58A, the applicant is again required to make an improvement over existing conditions of the capacity of the riverfront area. And I've made a suggestion, and town council agrees, that the commission can ask the applicant to make improvements on the adjacent parcel that is owned by the applicant, which is the majority of the riverfront area, beyond the 20-foot that's being proposed for some improvements on this particular lot. Performance standards clearly address locating redevelopment of previously developed projects away from the river. Both C and D performance standards address this. 10.585C, within the 200-foot riverfront, proposed work shall not be located closer to the river than existing conditions or 100 feet, whichever is less. 10.58D, proposed work including expansion of existing structures shall be located outside the riverfront area or towards the riverfront boundary and away from the river, except in accordance with 10.585F or D and C. So I think the performance standards wants even previously existed developed areas to be moved further away from the riverfront area and for there to be an improvement of the riverfront area. So those are the questions I have to be answered, and
I think before, the number one, I think we have addressed the issue, and I think the commission has agreed that this lot is subject to the Rivers Act, that with the revision that we're looking at, was it 2004, that reconfigured the lot so that it is, comes under the Rivers Act. I think
We've agreed to,
we did determine this.
we've agreed to forego that.
So we don't have to debate that, discuss that any further. So I think the issue then gets degraded lot or whatever we have here, so. Anything else you want to
no,
add, Landis?
just because we still have other items on the agenda, and I think whatever order the commission ends up writing, will need to take some thought and care. That I would just recommend the commission to, make their factual determination tonight regarding the previously developed riverfront area, degraded riverfront area, and then close the hearing if everyone's ready, and then put it on the agenda on the 28th to issue whatever order is being issued.
Okay, does that make sense with everyone? Okay, any additional comments at this point, questions?
We gonna vote on it?
Dean? Well, we haven't closed the hearing yet.
No, we're gonna vote on this fact that we all agree as a board, if it's degraded and previously developed, I think we should vote on it, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think you should make a factual determination as recommended by town council.
All right, no, I have all the information I need to make a decision.
Okay, Doug, anything else?
No. No.
All right, Emilio?
Can I see the 1971 photo?
I think you should do that before you close it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, do you mind, I can't, up close.
Landis, do I have your permission, Landis, to bring this closer to the?
Approach the bench.
I didn't need to ask permission. So this is the lot right here.
Right.
Those are the trailers, tractors. These are the railroad tracks that were previously located there, so.
And this is what?
That's a building. Those are the rooftops of the buildings. Rooftop, down below. This is parking and pavement and.
Okay, thank you.
You want to just review that for everybody while you're holding it up?
You wanna-
No, just leave it on there and just
Okay.
show us what you just
Okay.
explained to Emilio.
So, this is the Bird Milk Complex that was in operation. These are rooftops of various buildings. Those of you who were around then, the product was offloaded, these railroad tracks, and then there was two tiers to the complex. One that was at the level of the railroad tracks, and the bottom level that was where they could get around to all the other buildings in the site. And in this location here, we have storage trailers and parking areas that were presumably where they stocked the inventory and trucked it out. But for the most part, this whole area had a road going through the interrelated buildings out to Washington Street.
And the lot is, you can just, with your finger, just
The
go
lot is
around the
right
lot?
here. Excuse me?
Just the lot outline on the,
This
with
is
your
the
finger.
lot, this is the
That's
lot
it.
that we're talking about right now.
Okay, so everybody clear with that? Good.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Betsy?
Yeah, so I think the one remaining question I had after the site visit, which was very helpful, is did the degradation due to having a junkyard or dumping grounds there happen previous to 1996? And it seems as though sometime between 2000 and 2006, when things were being developed in that area, that was being used to stockpile, and it was being used to get rid of some extra materials. It didn't seem like the kind of, it certainly didn't have, we don't have evidence that this was dumped there before 1996. It was flat in your aerial photos. You probably could have put a house there back in, or someone could have put a house there back in 1996.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but this is also in the packet that was
Yeah.
previously provided.
So,
The
Mr.
2001.
2001, it looks relatively flat. And then 2001, looks like we're ready to put a house down.
The two-
And then 2006 or 8 or whatever it was, suddenly there are big piles of stuff.
Mr. Chairman, may I address comments? Well, first of all, the site, the regulation is previously developed. There's no question that this area was previously developed
I think
prior to
we're doing
1996.
currently degraded,
Well,
degraded.
Let's go by the regulations, not by, so in 2001, when you see those photographs, in 2001, it was grandfathered, right? Because it was a pre-existing lot. The lot didn't change lot lines until 2004. So when you say in 2001 it looked like a flat lot, well, in 2001, you had given him a negative determination, and it was exempt from the river regulations because it was pre-existing.
It was not exempt from the rivers. Please, I'm just factual information here. The RDA did not exempt it from the Rivers Protection Act regulations.
Right, but it was a
Want to be clear.
It was a pre-existing lot under the 1996 regulation. The lot was formed in 1989.
But look, we're talking about junkyards and abandoned dumping grounds, and it looked like that abandoned dumping ground.
In absence of topsoil, too. So
It
you
looks
gotta,
like it had happened after 2001.
If I may, Paul McInnes from Ecotech, and I've gone inside a lot, looked at the photos. I think that yes, in the early 2000s, there was a change to it. But I think it's important to remember that the change happened on top of the condition that went from the 70s, when the site was active, and it was clearly developed. There was all the activity, in the area. We just showed where the lot is. So it was previously developed in the 70s, then there was dumping that happened, you can see in the 90, there's further alteration in the 95 photo, which is really the critical one relative to Rivers 96. And then, I think you're right, I think there was some additional alteration that happened on there in the early 2000s, but it happened on top of an area that was itself degraded. That's my interpretation.
and these are the photos of the dumping that took place there. Okay.
After 2001. And
We
that,
don't know that. We don't know that. These photographs clearly show the area was dumped on.
yeah,
So-
but the
so-
timing is all what we're
Well-
kind of about here.
The timing is irrelevant. If it was previously developed and it was dumped on, and it was a dumping ground, and its absence of topsoil, then it meets the criteria. I don't know what more we could provide you with.
It actually says August 7th, 1996. I mean, it's actually pretty specific. That it has to be a junkyard or abandoned dumping ground, and this was maybe a stockpiling area too.
I think you're focusing on only a part of the definition. Absence of topsoil, impervious surfaces, abandoned dumping grounds, junkyards. It's any one of those makes it degraded. So that was my point, is that we're focused on the dumping, some of which clearly occurred post-rivers, based on the photos. But it occurred on top of something that was degraded pre-rivers, which is what counts, so to speak.
You still have questions, Betsy?
No, I guess I don't have any more questions.
Okay. Al?
No, I don't have any question. I'm pretty much convinced what went on there.
Okay. So we need to determine specifically, what are we looking for here? That it is degraded and
Previously developed.
I think it was previously developed. That, I think, is clear, that this was
Wait,
part
should we
of the
vote
mill
on that?
complex. What was
Jack,
that?
should we vote on that?
This is what are we need to come up with, what are we gonna vote on? Go ahead, you wanna
We
make
should vote
that?
on two things. I'm suggesting to you, Jack, previously developed, we should vote on that, and then degraded. Those are the two things.
Degraded by the definition, because, I mean, degraded just, you know,
Degraded according to the act, and you can
Yeah.
add details. But
degraded by
it's the
definition.
degraded in 1058-5 is the definition.
So we have two, previously developed. Okay, is that, so,
Previous developed riverfront area.
so let's take that a step at a time.
Yep.
Do we, someone make that a motion that would be, that this lot was previously developed?
I'll move that.
Second?
Okay, any more discussion?
Aye.
All in favor of that? Aye.
Yes, it was previously developed.
Previously developed.
All of us won.
Is that,
Al, are you
Everybody-
voting?
Yeah?
Okay.
everybody agree with that? Okay,
Yep.
that's 6-0-0. We agree on that. So the other issue is it degraded. So, any more discussion on that?
I would just refer to the town council's communication that was provided, he stated, according, the commission should focus on whether lot 24A still has evidence of impervious surface from existing structures or pavement, absence of topsoil, junkyard, abandoned dumping grounds, which have been on the lot 24A since prior to August 7th, 1996, and still are causing degradation of the riverfront area on lot 24A. It's a little different than what Mr. McManus is saying.
Okay, so the degradation had to be prior to what? What was it?
Well,
What was
no,
that?
it was saying that 24A still has evidence of impervious surface from existing structures, pavements, absence of topsoil, junkyards, or abandoned dumping grounds, which have been on lot 24A since prior to August 7th, 1996, and still are causing degradation of the riverfront area.
Mr. Chairman, yes.
It's hard because the lot has been changed since then. That's, I
Yeah.
think, a little bit of the struggle here.
Well, I think the evidence of the concrete on the site, and, I mean, if you want us to go down 25 feet to see what's there underneath it, if it's anything like the rest of the site, there's concrete underneath that. So, I mean, it's a clear choice. Do you want us to clean it up and build a nice house there, or do you want us to,
But you're
Well, I
not,
think-
you're not gonna clean it up.
well,
You're not gonna clean up the part that you're saying is degraded.
I think
That's
we're,
below, I'm sorry if I'm speaking on a turn, but that's below the area that is shown here.
yeah,
in 2001.
Yeah.
You're not going to clean that up.
so what was that area, what do you consider that area then, that we're not cleaning up? What do you consider? Is it part of the riverfront? Is this area that is the substantial slope that we showed you, that you witnessed on the site, is that degraded? And are we Are we improving that situation over existing conditions? I guess that's really the question. So you're saying that we're not, or you're saying you're trying to determine that. So, in our opinion, we're gonna improve that lot over the existing conditions.
Well, you are improving it from some dumping that occurred recently.
The people have been dumping on that lot for 30 years. So you want to try and distinguish a time when certain aspects, when did they dump the leaves? When did they dump the soils? When did they dump the concrete? When did they dump the metal and all the other stuff that was dumped there? Why are we,
But the photograph suggests that it was in the last 25 years or 23 years or something.
does it really?
20 years.
Does it really matter when the?
What does here, because
Why does it matter? I mean, it's previously
only because we're
developed.
dealing with laws.
It's previously developed. We already know that. It was part of the Bird Mill complex. We also know that they destroyed the buildings or demolished the buildings, and they pushed all the debris throughout the site. So, in our opinion, that means it's degraded. That's where they put there's no topsoil in that area. So,
I think the timing does matter. If the site were in a natural condition in '96, and then there was, illegal activity that resulted in material being dumped post '96 on a natural situation, then I agree that matters, because it would be, in such an instance, it would be degraded by virtue of unauthorized activity. That's why I'm making the distinction, and why, like the 71 photo and the ones after that are so important, because they demonstrate, in my opinion, that it was degraded in '96, at that time zero of the Rivers Act, that it was degraded then, which is the critical time.
But you're gonna be removing stuff that was dumped there since 2001. That's what you're really gonna remove and improve, is illegal dumping that occurred after 2001.
If you show, you have the 2001 photo.
It's down there. It's down on the ground.
this is 2000.
I mean, it was illegal dumping, so it does have to get cleaned up.
About 2001.
Okay, I don't, yes, that one. Okay.
So-
That
so-
shows that lot, 24A, is reasonably clear, as is the rest of that area. It's been,
What it shows, Jack, is that the depression that was there with the trailers and the buildings that were there, what it shows is that it was filled in.
yeah, I mean, it's relatively flat, and it's not, it does not look like it does today.
Well, it's relatively flat up to where the slope is.
Yeah.
So the slope, again,
So
that's the part that we're talking about as part of this application.
Okay.
This area here at the back of the lot that drops off 25 feet,
Right, and the front of the lot.
which is outside of the riverfront area.
Well, no, the riverfront area comes through the middle.
Yeah, it goes right about here. That's not jurisdictional.
But that shows that material has been deposited there since 2001.
At least
2001.
2001 or before.
Okay,
Because
so, all right,
not only that, but just one last thing, the 1995 photo shows that it was filled in at that time too, which was prior to the adoption of the Rivers Act. So, again, I can't make the case any stronger than, you folks have all been there. It's a clear choice. Do you want us to do something about it, or do you want to?
no, I think what we want to do is to try to decide whether this is.
This is the 1995 aerial, closest to the riverfront, to the Rivers Act. 1996 was the Rivers Act. So if you're saying you're gonna go 6 years ahead of time to look at the 2001 photograph versus the 1995 photograph, you can see that this is where the demo had already taken place and the material had already been pushed or dumped onto the lots. Not just this lot, by the way, all of the lots along this whole stretch were filled in. So I think that meets the definition
Okay.
of degraded, so. Anyways.
Pleasure of the commission. This, how do we rate this lot? As degraded as when?
Well, what do you think, Jeff?
Isn't it just degraded versus non-degraded? Now, when?
It is when, August 7th, 1996.
I would think it probably goes back to that, when they demolished that area, that, the buildings, whatever structures were on there, whatever, I think there was, I don't know if there was buildings there or the terminals, but that, it's degraded. So, anybody else?
Well, I don't think it's degraded by our very particular definition, which, by the way, if you went out on the street and said, what's the difference of degraded, they wouldn't be coming up with this, but we're kind of stuck with bylaws and laws and that kind of thing. So by this law, I do not feel it's, by this definition, degraded, in the sense that it then triggers other things. And that's really what we're about. I mean, it then triggers either section A or B or whatever it is. I don't think that it's, by the definition of this law, degraded.
So in 71, it was a parking lot, right, according to the photograph. In 96, it looked flat and clear. There is no absence of topsoil. It looks, and when I walked there, I saw chunks of, hang on 1 second, I saw chunks of concrete and some asphalt, but I saw plenty of trees, growth. So I saw growth,
Lots of
topsoil.
growth, yeah.
Lots of growth. I needed a machete to get through that,
Yeah.
so that there was stuff growing. So I saw no absence of topsoil. I didn't see a junkyard. I saw mounds of dirt. I don't know what was down deep below, but it didn't, it just looked like from sometime after 96, somebody dumped more stuff onto that lot. But in the what was that other photograph, 01, it looked pretty flat to me. So that's, that's what it looked like at that point.
I think I mean, I dug holes out there, and in my opinion, there is not topsoil. And I think you have to be careful about the fact that, if something's growing on it, doesn't necessarily mean it's topsoil. If you remember down on Burns Ave, there was that question, and DEP came out, within the area that had grown over, and very clearly ruled, they said, well, dig me a hole, Paul. And we dug some holes for DEP, and they said, yeah, it's degraded. And the presence or absence of vegetation is not determinative with respect to whether there's topsoil.
But it was primarily an old junkyard or dump.
All right, let's not get back into Burns
Yeah,
Avenue.
okay.
We want to get this squared away.
I think Paul.
What's the pleasure of the commission? How do you want to rate this?
We vote? Should we vote?
On what?
If it's degraded or not.
Okay, is it or isn't it? That's the question.
You have
We
to
vote
pose,
on.
you have to pose it so that we can do it.
Is it degraded or not?
We have to do it by Robert's Rules of Order, so go ahead and pose it.
So what is your motion?
Oh, you want me to make the motion? So I move that by this very particular definition, it's not degraded prior to August 7th, 1996. That's what I move.
Okay, you
What
make,
would a vote yes be, or a vote no?
I move that it is not degraded by this definition, so a vote of yes would be agreeing with me that it's not degraded by the definition.
Couldn't be more confusing,
sake.
Betsy.
So I'm not moving that it's pristine, but I am moving that that the degradation occurred after, how about this? I'm moving that the degradation that we saw occurred after August 7th of 1996, in particular occurred between 2001 and 2006. That's too big a motion.
May I just,
I'm moving that the illegal dumping and stockpiling occurred after 1996.
Mr.
For goodness sake.
No.
What?
Yeah, so that's your motion.
Yeah, but he doesn't
Any-
understand what I'm
Can I
talking
make
about.
a,
Well,
sug-
this
can
could-
I
yes.
just make a
don't you
suggestion
phrase
based
it?
on town council, so, the motion, so what you're trying to determine if the lot is previously developed, and a portion of the lot is, the riverfront area is degraded.
That's all
We
it
just
should be.
voted on previously developed.
You did.
Right, but it's previously developed with a portion being degraded, so you,
Okay.
so you can just make the motion that it is a portion of the riverfront area on lot 24A degraded, riverfront area.
By the
That's the
definition.
riverfront area.
Well,
It just is
that's kinda
degraded,
obvious.
yeah.
Oh, I think,
By the definition.
can I,
I think it, to me, it's been degraded. What we see on there, it's also been dumped on since, I agree with you that it has been dumped on in the last 20 or so years.
Okay, so we're,
But
anyway,
it
we're-
was-
So my motion is that the lot is degraded. A portion of the lot is degraded. A
By
vote
the
yes
by
would
def-
say yes, a vote no would mean you don't think the lot's
but
degraded.
can you just add for it degraded by
I
the?
don't think it's relevant. The date is not relevant, I don't believe.
But our town council actually wants us to vote on it by this definition, that's why
You
it's.
can vote on the definition, but the time doesn't matter. It's degraded, it's degraded.
It says degraded prior to August 7th.
can I just say?
No,
What do you think, Jack?
I think it's degraded. And
No, what do you think about the
however we
motion?
Put that in, is time relevant to that?
Yeah, otherwise we
And,
wouldn't be going back and forth about 1996.
No, and from the definition of degraded, is time pertinent?
Not in the regs.
If it triggers other things, so that's the thing, so.
It's stating that the commission should focus on whether lot 24A still has evidence of impervious surface from existing structures in absence of topsoil, junkyards, or abandoned dumping grounds, which have been on lot 24A since August 7th, 1996.
Well,
True or false?
There was structures on there
And it's still causing
and prior
degradation.
to whenever they took things down. And at that point, some of that junk stayed there.
Well, we don't see it on the.
Which means that lot was degraded, even though they cleared it, and at some point, there was some, what appears to be leveling of the lot, but that, we have to look at what's within our jurisdiction within the riverfront area. And a lot of that junk that we see today is more is outside of the 200-foot buffer zone. So, I think it is degraded. So that, was that your motion, Dean?
Yes.
It is degraded?
That's my-
By the
my vote.
definition, Dean, can you
That would
please
be my
say
vote,
that?
yes. That would be my vote, yes.
Okay, so, any more discussion on that? Did we have a second to that motion? I'll second it. All right, all in favor? Aye? Okay, so 4-0-2, 4-2-0. Okay, so we have that defined. We will put an order of conditions together. We'll continue this then till the 28th, so we'll have,
Don't we have a hearing on the 28th to discuss the order of conditions, or?
yeah.
The
Sorry, Lana.
procedure is if you're prepared to close the public hearing tonight, And then there's 21-day period to issue the decision, so go to on the 28th, it wouldn't be a public hearing, it would just be under the business meeting that you would discuss issuing the order of conditions.
So we need to,
Well, there's some revisions to this plan, I think, still that.
that can be conditioned. So we need to make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 600. We will have the order conditions to present on the,
Well, you'll
June-
discuss
on
the
June
order of
28th,
conditions.
yeah.
So
we'll
I
present.
can have a draft, and then you can discuss.
And it's not a public discussion.
Correct. Public hearing's
You
been
can-
closed.
You can listen if you want.
However you want to proceed, that's fine. Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. We have, we're here for Summer Street.
Yes,
Okay.
so. Here we go. Yes, under general business, old business, representatives of 55 Summer Street are here to discuss if they can submit a amended order of conditions, or if a new notice of intent is required for the changes that they're proposing. Come on up and introduce yourselves.
And that's not on the agenda?
It is on the agenda. It's under general business because it doesn't require a public hearing.
Okay.
If the commission, regardless if the commission votes that it could be an amended order of conditions, then they will have to file materials, notify abutters, and we'll post for a public hearing. They'll come back and present the project as, and we'll vote on the amendment. Or if the commission says the proposed work requires a new notice of intent, they'll have to file a new notice of intent. So the only question here tonight is, can the changes be filed under a request to amend the existing order of conditions, or does it require the filing of a whole new notice of intent?
So I'm David Hale. I represent 55 SS LLC. I'm here with Patrick Bogle from Howard Stein Hudson, Rob Hewitt from Fairfield Residential, and John Scheib supporting Fairfield Residential as well. We have an order of conditions that covers two lots, Lot 1 and Lot 2. Fairfield Residential now owns Lot 1, and my company still owns Lot 2. Our plan is to modify the project in a way that reduces the impacts under the Act. And so this is a plan that is designed to show the project under the existing order and what its impacts were, and where the project is sort of shrunk in terms of the impact.
Where is this again?
55 Summer Street.
Oh.
Yeah, so you have some new members here that are not
So this is the-
familiar from the first time.
This was the big development, right? Summer Street, right across from the Bird Mill, that's the Bird
Across from the post office.
Post Office, okay, thank you.
Bird machine.
Bird Machine.
So
Yeah, I can go up there.
why don't you go up and
Hello again, Patrick Bogle, Howard Stein Hudson. So this plan, just to kind of explain a little bit, shows the previous impact.
Sorry, Patrick, can you just grab one of the microphones,
yeah.
because
Is that
people
one
at home.
Oh, yeah.
You
You
can
can
use that. People at home can't hear unless you're talking directly into them.
And how about bringing that
Can you bring that
portable
close?
one up in the middle here so that we can
Enhance,
see it?
enhance.
I do have some 11 by 17 handouts. that I
Oh,
can
yeah,
do.
yeah, I'll take one of those.
Oh, yeah.
This.
fine, because the cameras will pick up what's on the TV, so you can show this directly to them.
This is the last sheet.
Oh, okay, this is a set of them.
All right.
We hired a consulting firm to look at this. Beta. We hired Beta, right, to look at this?
I'm sorry, what?
We hired Beta.
Yes, Beta was the engineer. Yeah, so that sheet that you're looking at up there is, and I guess it'd probably be easier if I point to it as well, is going to be showing the difference between the previous development and the previous limit of development, which is going to be this black line here. That goes around the development and shows the previous kind of level of disturbance, which was shown on the conformance plans, the 1012 conformance plans that were signed off on. And then you have the red line, which shows the changes and how the project is being shrunk by the new development. And you can see that we have a reduction in kind of the limit of work, primarily on Lot 2, as the project is being shrunk. And Lot 1 has minimal changes, as there's a couple buildings being swapped onto Lot 2 with the same number of units. And then I can go to the front here, and that'll show in red what's being changed. So as I said, Lot 1 has pretty much the same layout, where you have this building here, this townhouse building, and driveway B, which was previously delineated as driveway B, has these two 6-unit townhouses, and those are being swapped onto the new orientation of Lot 2, which is going to be in this area. And then we have a new multifamily building, which is going to be 56 units with parking adjacent on either side, and a slightly new orientation of driveway D. And then all the single families that were previously in this area are being removed.
Oh.
And then you just have a small area for infiltration to handle the runoff that comes off from the emergency access. And you'll still have the same looped water and utilities that go as was previously proposed. And then, go for it.
Shrinking the footprint of the project, same number of units, but same number of units, but the impact on the buffer zone is considerably less. And we've pretty much stayed within the existing limit of disturbance, except there's less disturbance.
Only other notable change would be the mail area as well. It's being slid away from the train tracks into that previous driveway B area. That's about it. Quick little overview. Like I said, that last sheet shows how the disturbance limit of work is being shrunk, and overall it should be a less limit of work.
So on your sheet, there is sort of a summary of the impervious and how that's changed and shrunk.
The parking summary is shown here between Lot 1 and Lot 2, complying with the permit that we have for 1.88. Yep, I believe. Parking spaces per unit, and we show that between the two lots with the new layout.
So your request is we have to determine what are we actually voting on?
Right, so this is not a scheduled public hearing. It hasn't been notified and it hasn't been advertised. All this is a procedure based on DEP's policy that the applicant can come forward and ask the commission if they can file this as an amended order of conditions. So it would just be an amendment to the existing order, it would be amendment to the plan. They would still have to notify butters, and we would advertise a public hearing. They would come before the commission and explain in more detail. We, you know, including the stormwater management would be re-reviewed to make sure that the revised plan met the stormwater standards. So this is just, can it be amended to the existing order of conditions? Or does it require a new filing, a new notice of intent, a new order of conditions? That's the decision tonight.
So would require an amendment would require a public notification, public hearing.
Absolutely, yes, yes.
And,
Yep. And review of the stormwater and any
the
details
complete
of the
review.
plan.
Based on what you have seen, this, would we need peer review for the stormwater management review, or is this?
I would probably consult with the town engineer on that one to see what he would recommend. You know, so that's what I would go. I think that this is somewhat similar to another project in town, that it was a superseding order of conditions, but DEP allowed the change from townhouses to single-family houses through an amended order, because the envelope of development was the same. There's no additional impact to the resource areas. And there was a slight review of the stormwater as well under that particular project. It just makes it cleaner rather than having two order of conditions out there. That makes it very confusing. So it's recommended that if it fits the guidelines of an amendment, that it's best to go with amendment. But it would still get the review. The change in plans, the new buildings would still get review, yes.
Is there any other town board that you would have to go before for these changes that you're suggesting?
So, yes, so we've filed to amend, yes, we have filed to amend our comp permit to allow these changes.
And so this would go, is that through zoning board?
Yes, and so there'll be a
Okay.
public hearing, I think, on the 17th of July.
Okay. So this would appear from what you have presented that we have less impact on the resource areas, is that, and these numbers you're showing, where you say allowed impervious coverage, that's what is presently permitted?
Correct.
Okay, and the other is, what would, the other column is your?
Yes.
The changes that you would make?
Yes.
The current plan here.
Right, anything else you want to add, Landis? Dean, any questions?
No questions.
Doug?
No, no questions.
Emilio? Betsy?
Yeah.
Al?
These buildings in the red,
I'm good.
they're all going to be rental apartments rather than a single-family house. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So you're not going to have any single-family houses in this?
That is correct.
Okay. And the area up near the railroad tracks, you're removing 2 areas of buildings.
Yes.
Okay.
And the one building between the 2 vernal pools.
Yeah. And I guess nobody would want to live right with the railroad tracks, less than 100 feet away every day running trains. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Anything else?
No, I think I understand what's going on here.
I would suggest that we handle this as an amendment to the existing order. Someone make that a
I'd make
motion?
a motion to that effect.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
For your amendment
Looking forward to that.
for work.
Terrific.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good, thank you. Okay, and and thank you for waiting this evening.
You guys missed an interesting discussion. I mean, you guys got to see one.
Well, we learned something.
Yeah, for your next project, yeah.
All right, we have minutes from what, whenever that was.
Actually, their site was here.
May 28th, was it? May 24th. Someone want to move the minutes from May 24th?
Well, can I make?
So moved.
Well, can I make a comment before we move in second? So could I just say that I don't think that we discussed whether it would be parking or pull-off across the street, and I don't want to have discussion tonight because we don't have anyone here and we can't.
But we didn't, we left that open.
So right here it says it would remain a pull-off with no parking, so could I almost want to just say, and Hershey explained, we'll discuss whether it's gonna be a pull-off or parking. Because I would like it to stay open so we actually do discuss it. I don't recall discussing it. I do want to discuss it, but we can't discuss it right now. So I just, if we could make it not seem solidified, it could be Landis explained, we will discuss.
We could add, it'll remain a pull-off with parking to be discussed later.
A pull-off with parking to be discussed later, yep.
To be discussed later.
Yep. That would make me happier.
Okay, is that all right?
Yep.
So subject to that, we have a second on the minutes, and all in favor? Aye.
Second, aye.
600. 501, Al was.
I was not here.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay. Let's see, minutes. Do we have anything else to do?
Yes, we do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Allen
Dam,
Dam.
what's going on there?
So,
Which one's this?
Allen Dam,
Someone on Washington Street,
very end
at
of
the end of
Stone Street.
The one that they got chopped down and everything? No.
Go out Stone Street and you drive straight ahead, that's Allen Dam.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Well, you
Like
can.
the
park.
big Allen Dam with the reservoir?
No, right here, at the end of
Reservoir.
Stone Street.
It's,
Okay.
It's the giant
Yep.
rolling berm.
Yeah,
it's an earthen dam.
Up there.
yeah, that's the one, with the golf course.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That seems
Okay.
important.
Okay, so
Thank you.
over the past couple of years, and I have looped you guys in, if you remember, the NR, there it is.
NRCS.
NRCS,
NARCS.
right, Natural Resource Conservation people.
Narcs.
Have been reviewing the dam, and it needs some rehabilitation, and they have done a lot of work out there doing inspections, and then came out with a couple of different alternatives, which were reviewed. There's a couple public hearing that not a lot of people went to, and they came up with the preferred alternative 5C, which is not, did they get a copy?
We have a picture of it.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So it's not a lot of change of disturbance to the actual pond or wetlands or anything. They're just going to be doing some work on the outflow structure and the intake structure. So that's the preferred plan. So the Conservation Commission needs to vote on the acceptance of the preferred plan and on the work to be conducted on conservation land. And I gave you a letter in here with the exact votes. Did you lose that? Is that amongst your stuff?
There's actually a tree growing out of one of the outflow structures. Have you noticed that, Landis?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I just wonder how that even got to happen and what the sort of year-to-year maintenance is like there for a tree to kind of get started like that and keep going. All right, that's a rhetorical question, don't worry.
This page that was provided with the map under abstract gives the recommended preferred alternative includes, and it kind of gives a description of what that is. It's preferred by the NRCS and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, includes raising the control section crest of the auxiliary spillway, construction of subsurface articulated concrete block armoring system within the auxiliary spillway, raising the dam crest, repairs and improvements to the principal spillway system, and improvements to the embankment under drain system. And this is the recommended preferred
Does the U.S.
plan.
Department of Agriculture manage this dam?
No.
So, yeah, yes, it's federal, it's federal. So they're the ones that originally constructed the dam because of the flooding in
55.
55. They constructed this dam. And
55.
since they constructed it and played a part back then, they're still taking responsibility for repairing a portion of it. The town will have to put a share, but
Of
they're,
$4 million?
is that what it says in there? I know it's a lot.
Why are they
Report's
raising, why are they raising the crest? In all my years of walking on the top of that dam, which is a walking path, I have never once seen the water anywhere near the crest. Why are they gonna raise the height of it? I mean, are we allowed to question
Severe
that?
storms.
Have you ever walked up there? I mean, it's the water is like way down below.
There's probably
you're gonna have
20
Is it okay if I question that?
You can, but I
Yeah.
can't necessarily answer all your technical questions, so.
Okay.
Come on,
on-
Landis.
There's a document that I can,
No,
that I
but-
think I forwarded to you that has, explanations of this whole process.
But to what extent is this a done deal? I mean, like, just sometimes it's like, okay, the government wants to,
It hasn't, though. I mean, the commission has been told of the public hearings that you could have gone to
Yeah.
hear more about this, and documents along the way, so it's not just coming out of the blue. But I know part of the options was to dredge it for more volume, and I think the least impact and the most cost-effective was to raise the berm.
you ever walked up there?
I haven't.
I think you missed your window, Betsy.
Give it a try.
This is a February
And you'll see
report.
what my
Right,
question's
so
about.
this is for long-term, this is for long-term improvements. This is, not necessarily today's conditions, but 50 years. You're not listening. This is not necessarily for today's conditions, this is for
Look at me.
future conditions, this is for future
Think
conditions.
about our children, Betsy.
All right, let's move on.
Anyway,
What do
so-
we have to vote on?
So, did you find that letter, please?
Yeah.
Think about
No,
South Walpole.
that's not the letter. This is the letter. This is the letter. So, one vote is to approve, this is one vote, and this is the other
That's
vote?
what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I will.
It's motion number one, to approve the selection of preferred alternative for the NRCS Watershed Rehabilitation Program Allen Dam, Diamond Brook Watershed Plan C5, as preferred by NRCS and the Commonwealth. That's motion number one. Someone want to second that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
600.
Actually, I was gonna abstain. No, I'm gonna vote against it. Sorry, I'm gonna vote against it just to be obnoxious.
Keep
Doesn't
it
matter,
interesting
it
for you,
passes.
Stephanie. Keeping it interesting for you.
Okay, all right, so that's a 501.
Yeah, sorry,
510.
510.
Excuse me. And number two, the motion is to allow the work to be conducted on land under the control of the Conservation Commission, being assessors maps and lot 42-93, 34-148, Allen Pond off Washington
I
Street.
think I do have to vote for this one.
So that is,
We'll do some
that's
kind
the
of work.
motion. Do we have a
I
second?
don't like the
Wait.
work, but
What's the vote? If we keep the
Second.
land?
are they allowed to work on our land?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Aye.
And
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
working on
600.
It's my bedtime. Landis.
So that takes care of that.
It's everyone's bedtime. I think I will attest that it's my bedtime.
Who's scheduled?
Okay, so we're moving on here. All right, thank you for that vote. Clark's Pond sign will be blue,
Here.
and
suggested that.
minutes you did. There's nothing new on Conservation Land North Street. We're working on the plan. It will be ready soon for the next meeting. Copy's supposed to be available on Friday. Willet Pond access gifts, we don't have any more. Pinnacle Trail, nothing new. Master plan,
It's done. We have some minor edits, but we had a meeting on Monday, and they said, it's done. I saw the draft. I think there's like a few minor edits, but it is El Duno. So they're gonna release it very shortly. It's beautiful. It's a great document. You should all read it.
I will.
How many pages?
Okay.
okay,
A lot.
55 Summer Street is done. Enforcement orders, Main Street, nothing new. Burns Ave is stabilized. Peach Street, we're still waiting for Andrew Adams to work things out with the neighbors so they can do the plantings. Main Street, 1342 Main Street, the veterinarian clinic, they did put up, they did the plantings, they put up the boundary. Meant to get out there today, but it got too busy, so I'll take a look at the boundary, but it's probably, I described what it should be, so hopefully it's the way it should be. And then I would just recommend sending them a letter saying that, they give it a year for the plantings and then vacate the enforcement order. Clarkson Drive, you allow them to wait till the fall for the plantings. Hopefully I'm not going too fast, Jack. Extensions, Jarvis
We gotta
Farm.
vote those.
Okay, yeah, you gotta vote that. Jarvis Farm is for vegetative management treatment of Jarvis Farm under the Water and Sewer Department. They're the ones that handle that.
Someone make that a motion?
extension.
So moved.
Second.
How
All in
much are you
favor?
giving them?
Aye.
A year?
Whatever
2
our
years?
normal is.
3 years?
This is for the.
Vegetative treatment.
Yeah,
Yep.
3 years.
3 years. Yeah, I think it's nice, something like
Do
that.
we have,
3 years.
You have something to sign?
18 Industrial Road, again, this is, they keep on continuing their order of conditions because they're still doing remediation of the groundwater. They can't construct a stormwater basin until they're clear with the remediation, so.
Motion.
You wanna issue them a year?
Okay, we're trying to figure out what was going on there, so that's.
Right,
that
that's what
gave
it
you-
is. They're
that's-
still
that's
under
still-
remediation, so they can't
Okay.
construct their
All
stormwater
right,
basin.
so yeah, make that for 12 months.
Okay. Sure you don't wanna go a year?
That is 13.2 months.
1 week.
Are we supposed to write our name?
I wrote 12 years.
Are we supposed to write our name also? Print our name
Yeah.
on this form?
Which one is that?
Extension?
Oh.
I don't have to?
Yeah.
Okay. There's 2 of them, so we gotta do. Okay, here's that one, and then we have another one. Industrial.
And there's nothing new on the appeal. Any appeals? I haven't heard anything about the Warwick Road appeal either, so it's going on.
Are we on a 1-year anniversary for Wall Street? Are we on a 1-year anniversary for that? Wall Street development?
For which one?
Oh, the Pinnacle Hill?
There you go.
Has it been a year? I don't know, probably, yeah. I don't know.
No.
Maybe been longer.
You talking about the 15 Pinnacle? No.
The
that-
historic mill complex appeal? Is that what
Where's
you're talking
that?
about?
Where's that in appeal process? Just,
It's sitting in, the adjudicatory hearing,
Go.
mediation, judge.
low on the
You.
low on the totem pole.
Didn't somebody retire there that was doing it or something?
Yeah, it did change, the presiding judge did change, so I think, I don't know, they apparently got really backed up. They apparently got really backed up. I don't know.
Okay, done, so we do have, we have enough stuff on here to keep us busy on the 28th. You're gonna do a suggested order of conditions for 15 Pinnacle?
I can do that if you want, yep.
Yeah, okay. And that will be just a discussion of the,
Can we, but we can't see any more plans, right? We can just ask for things?
Right, you just have to look at the information that's been submitted, yes, and, yeah, so, yeah. Public
Okay.
hearing closed. Yeah, we do have, right, so July, we'll have Summer Street, and we'll have something else too, I can't remember what it is.
there's been some more 40B proposals coming in, I guess, right?
Well, 40B's, just, the only one that will be coming to us, I think, is Pinnacle.
Not Gilmore, which is,
Gilmore too,
should
yeah.
be, right?
Just the corner of the Gilmore project.
not Burns, excuse me, not Darwin?
No.
What's the one that's gonna be in the, Eversource right away? The 40B, is that the Gilmore? Gonna be under the power lines?
Is it Power Lines near Gilmore's?
Might be Gilmore.
Not downtown, you mean like in West, where,
Hold on.
Yeah, tell us which one's gonna be under power lines.
off of West Street?
Off of Washington Street, at the end of,
I think Darwin is near the
Darwin.
power
Oh,
lines.
Darwin?
yeah,
Near
Darwin
Darwin.
Lane, 40B. That's coming down, right?
There's no wetlands near there.
Oh. That's not coming in front of us then?
Okay.
But that's, Schoolhouse Brooks right there.
Not quite.
It's in the Water Resource Protection
But
District.
anyway, we can't discuss this right now because we don't have a hearing, so we're,
Right.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
We gotta wait for our.
We are gonna
Are
wait.
you